What's going on YouTube? I'm just going to launch the Facebook too. What's going on everybody? Thank you for being here. Hope you had a Merry Christmas if you celebrate. If you don't, hope you had a happy holiday season and such. I want to talk about two stories today. The first one, I want to talk about the Nashville explosion that happened and just mainly the aftermath of what's going to come, because I'm not an investigator. I haven't looked into it that much. So I don't fully know everything that went on with the Nashville explosion. I know a lot of people are investigating on their own and trying to figure it out. So I'll just talk about the aftermath of it, because I see that it's already leading to curfews. It's already leading to talk of censoring more speech. And that's usually what happens when a tragedy happens. They use it as an excuse to take more freedoms away from people and censor more speech. So I'm going to talk about that aspect of it. What's going on, everybody? Thank you so much for being here. And second story I want to talk about today is something we've talked about for months that seems like it's really coming to fruition, which is the immunity passports or vaccine passport or vaccine identification. CNN reported it today. They said if you want to travel next year, you may need a vaccine passport. Washington Post said it today, how to reopen the economy safely, immunity passports. And anytime you have CNN and Washington Post reporting the same thing in the same day, it usually means they are up to something. You know, you could think of that what you think. The Democrats, people call it the deep state, whoever, whatever name you want to put on these people, they seem to work in unison, and their favorite outlets are CNN and New York Times. So that means Washington Post as well. But that's what it is, folks. That's what we're going to talk about. Thank you so much for being here. Give me a thumbs up if I sound good on YouTube and Facebook, and we'll do some shout outs before we begin. Before we start, because people are coming in, I have almost 4,000 people on Facebook. Thanks for being here. I have 500 and growing on YouTube. I want to say, if you don't do anything, sign up to my free email list. Excuse me. Stayintouchwithme.com. The reason is I just told everybody like a couple days ago on my free email list. It's in my bio, stayintouchwithme.com. Literally just type that out. I told everybody what happened on Facebook because I got shadow banned and censored. And it looks great. I mean, my Facebook has been crushing it the last couple of days. We've been getting 25,000 shares, 10,000 shares, 8. It seems like my Facebook's back. So either they unrestricted my Facebook page, which would be thank you so much, Facebook overlords, or people just found a way around the shadow ban because I emailed over 100,000 people and told them what was happening. So either way, it looks like my Facebook's almost back to fully form. I'm out here getting 100,000 shares a day. So that's great. It's not even just about me. It's the information. And there's not a lot of people reporting real information. There's not a lot of people, even on the right wing, that are accurate. I think there's a lot of people who are inaccurate, and they tell you what you want to hear instead of what really happened. And that gets more popular. And when they cut me out and they cut a lot of people out that you guys trust, it's very sneaky. And it's like a social engineer of humanity. So I'm glad to get that back. Christina said, Happy New Year. Thank you so much, Christina. Let's get a few shout outs. We got Suzanne on Facebook. We got Van on Facebook. Thank you so much, Vantron. We got John Russell. We have Rayhan Sodero. We have Love, Respect, Family Bear. Love that name. John Kool-Aid, God bless you. We have Kai Wester said, big fan regardless of your beard status. Well, I appreciate that. It's not so much a fashion statement all the time. It's kind of just like I go through the vibe. Sometimes I have a beard, sometimes not. I got my haircut. It's a lot shorter now. So it's not, I know I tend to be a fashionista with my, $10 fleece or whatever this is, but I appreciate people who like me, beard or no beard. Thanks for liking me for who I am. Speaking of which, the worst transition ever, Nashville explosion. Now, the Nashville situation had a crazy sort of explosion. It looked like they named the person today. I guess the DNA matched that of Anthony Quinn Warner, says BBC. The FBI said there was no indication of additional suspects. The blast was outside a telecom's office, disrupted communication systems in Tennessee and 4 other states. So the blast was so big, I guess they targeted a telecom's office, is what the news is saying. And it was so big that it affected communication systems in Tennessee and 4 other states. I can't tell you what's going on here, and I'm not trying to. A lot of people do a lot of research when it comes to this, Las Vegas, 9/11, all these sort of situations. I'm not comparing this to 9/11. It's nothing like it, but you get what I'm saying. Any sort of attack on the country, whether it's huge or small, everybody tries to put the pieces together because unfortunately, our intelligence communities have lost a lot of respect, whether it be from attacking President Trump so much from a false angle that a lot of people feel like, or things like the Bubba Wallace situation. I mean, Bubba Wallace had like a rope hanging. They said it was a noose. People saw it, looked like a garage door pull. It's like just the last 4 years have eroded a lot of trust. And I would say most people growing up, heard stories of the CIA and such, and everybody was a little skeptical anyway. The last 4 years just fully drove it home, where both sides kind of started not trusting people in the, intelligence community. So I know everybody's going to question it and they're going to ask questions. I can't tell you that much, but what I do want to say, I want to take it from a different angle. I have the information that you have, the video footage, the pictures. I'm just interested in something that they do, and I've talked about it before. They use women, children, and tragedies all the time to really push a political agenda. I forget which politician said it, but someone's famous for saying, never let a good tragedy go wasted. Like anytime there's a tragedy there, that's a chance for both sides of the aisle to get something done. When it came to school shootings and such, President Trump passed a bump stock ban because he had so much pressure. Trump would never do that unless there was a lot of pressure. So I'm not saying these things are staged. I'm not saying it's not real. I think the explosion was very real. What I'm saying is politicians know how to take a tragedy and say, okay, this happened. It's real. Let me really, benefit off it. And if you want to be honest in history, you can go back to things like the Lebanon affair, which was someone else pretending to be someone else. You could look that up, the Lebanon affair. Or you could look up stuff like if you search CIA, JFK, Cuba, they did some sort of thing. It was in CBS 2 years ago in the JFK files where they said they were going to stage a boatload of Cubans blowing up, real or simulated. So when people question this stuff, I'm just going to be honest. The reason is because they've been lied to so much. And also, there is something called a false flag. I'm not saying I'm not starting a theory. I'm just saying people have the right to be confused because this is not like a foreign tactic. There's documented declassified information that's available to the public, that's official U.S. government information saying this stuff. So I'm not saying this was one of them. I'm just saying in general, when everyone questions, they're like, why is everyone questioning everything? It's like, because this is true. This is real history. You guys have done this before and you never seem to tell the truth. So with this one, obviously, I think it's real. But what I find shocking is every time something like this happens, they use it to push their agenda and take stuff away that they normally wouldn't take away. So for this one, you already have them taking the angle of curfews. So this is from a Fox Nashville 17 article. It says, the curfew has extended from 4:30 p.m. Sunday noon to Monday. So as soon as it happened, you had the mayor go on television and smile and laugh, and it's creepy. I mean, maybe he was nervous. Sometimes people do that nervously, but it was creepy. If you guys saw the video, the Democrat mayor's like, oh man, like it's like, who laughs when an explosion like that happens? Maybe he's just a goofball. I'm not suggesting anything. I'm just saying not good leadership, but are we shocked? Most of our government is terrible leadership. And now moving forward, he does a curfew. So it's like, okay, someone does something bad. It's terrible what this person did. But now everybody in Nashville has to suffer. Everybody needs to go inside. And this is not a normal thing that they do very often. I know they did it with the Boston bombing. I think they did some sort of like martial law, close down the city situation. I don't know what you'd call it. But the curfews really came out during coronavirus. So first they used coronavirus. Okay, there's this crazy coronavirus, guys. It's really bad. And we're all like, yeah, for sure. It's bad. We don't want it. Okay, so now what we're going to do is take away your gym. Now you're going to get unhealthier. Now we're going to make everything chaotic. We're going to make, cancer screenings have to take a few months. You're going to close down your dentist office. We're going to curfew. So they already brought out the curfews this year for coronavirus. Now they're bringing the curfews back out for the bombing. So I just can't help but notice anytime something happens, they exploit it. I'm not saying it's not real. I think it is. I'm just saying they exploit it to take away more of our stuff. So now we're in a curfew state. And now they know this is the problem with nobody draining the swamp or really holding these people accountable. They never have any consequences for this type of stuff. So this whole year was a giant power grab. No one got held accountable. They only got more funding, more money, more power. So why would they stop? They feel no reason to ever stop doing this in a sane society. Like, for instance, in the 1700s or 1800s, when they did the Boston Tea Party, these people came together and said, listen, government's too tyrannical. There's too much tea tax. Now we have property tax, tea tax, plastic tax, gas tax, this tax, that tax, this tax. We're getting tax. Is Trump going to take 10%, 20%, 30%? Is Biden going to take 40%? Is Obama going to take 45%? Is Bernie? It's all too much. We're all getting taxed way too much. But the more that goes on, we just lose more money, lose more freedom, and no one does anything about it. So I think when it comes to this, what stands out to me the most is they're starting to use it as an excuse to bring back a curfew. And also, they're starting to talk about 5G and saying that this guy was a 5G conspiracy theorist. So this is TMZ. It says the Nashville bomber may have had a motive that had nothing to do with hurting people. It seems like the FBI may believe he's paranoid over 5G technology. He may have feared that it was being used to spy on Americans. This, according to the report from NBC affiliate in Nashville. So they're already pushing the narrative that this guy was a 5G maniac and he thought it was going to spy on Americans. First of all, they don't need 5G to spy on Americans. I think they've been spying on Americans for decades, and 5G is not going to help them spy on Americans anymore. What it will do is kind of, in China, this is not a theory, this is just a fact. If you look at China, they use 5G technology. It's got it's like 4G on steroids. So they have more control, more power. It's faster. But it also in certain countries comes with a cost. In China, it's like you have the social credit score, you have the facial recognition technology. They use it to really hold that grid in place, which does control the people there. And it is interesting that that happened here. As soon as it got rolled out in this country, all of a sudden we're being treated like communist China. It is interesting, but they're trying to say this guy was talking about this. So I could already guarantee they're going to use it to shut down more people talking about it. And I want to kind of give the alternate perspective because I don't know that much about 5G. I've never really talked about the health aspects of it because I'm not a health expert and I don't know enough about what what it does. But I know that's what people get banned for. David Icke got banned for it. A lot of people, if you question 5G and the health aspects, they're coming for you. That just seems to be the thing. Dr. Buttar, I think they did it as well. I don't know enough about it, so I don't talk about it, but I do find it interesting. They think censoring people is a way to stop violence. But if you look at a lot of these attacks, and I'm not justifying, what this guy did was disgusting. This is not what you do. This is horrific. This is evil. I fully condemn this guy. But when you take away free speech, and this is what the left wing doesn't understand, and maybe the intelligence communities don't understand, when you take away free speech, you're taking out somebody's outlet to say something. So a lot of these people on the far right, they say, oh my God, 4chan's anti-Semitic, BitChute's anti-Semitic. And in a lot of ways it is, but and in a lot of ways it's not. But when you take away speech so much, people go somewhere to say it. So they go to 4chan or they go to BitChute because those are the only places they could say it. If you take away an outlet for somebody to express their opinion peacefully, a lot of times people get violent and desperate because they don't have a voice. So that used to be the best part about America was freedom of speech. I don't agree with some people on 4chan. I don't agree with some people on BitChute. I don't agree with CNN and New York Times. I don't agree with Fox News. If you want to be honest, I don't agree with a lot of Trump supporters. I think the way they've handled this coronavirus and their obsession over Trump, over the country, and when I question him, they freak out at me, and you got people trusting the plan of Bill Barr. I think a lot of people have almost full-blown lost their minds, even on the right wing. I don't agree with a lot of conspiracy theorists on the right wing, but there's got to be a better way than censoring speech, because when people don't have an outlet to say it, a lot of times it turns into violence. And that does not justify it, but that's something we've kind of always known in America is like, you would allow even the most egregious groups to go out on the streets and protest, like the KKK has protested in America for decades. And when I was younger, we saw it and nobody liked the KKK. We always thought they were disgusting, but there was always someone kind of explaining to us the reason they're allowed to do that is because we have the First Amendment in this country. And when you lose the First Amendment for them, you lose it for everybody. And we've watched that happen. People stayed silent when Alex Jones was banned. And I don't agree with Alex Jones on a lot of things. Then they were silent when Louis Farrakhan got kicked off of Facebook. And then you had Paul Joseph Watson. And then you had, David Duke. And then you had these people. And everyone's like, haha, those people are racist and anti-Semitic and sexist or whatever. And then they came for you. And then they came for, and now it's like thousands of people have been banned. Left-wing people, right-wing people, Trump, the GOP, Jim Jordan. And that's just how free speech works. So I just want to explain, before we move on, I'm not justifying what happened. I think it's terrible and disgusting. But when you don't allow people, I don't know that much about 5G, but I know that they censored so heavily. So maybe this could have been avoided if this guy was able to express his opinion somewhere instead of being blacklisted on all social media. I'm just being honest. I don't agree with canceling out speech. You should debate it because when people get cooped up, it's not a good vibe. And that's the same thing with the lockdowns. These lockdowns are horrible. I mean, the fact that they're making people more depressed, on pills more. People are getting fatter. You can't go to the gym. You can't travel. I can't even get a cup of coffee. I can't go shopping. I haven't got new clothes in a year. I can't get new clothes because I don't like wearing a mask, and it's everywhere stresses me out. This is no way to live. So it's like they're beating down on the public. They're beating down on us. They're beating down. They're taking away our free speech. They're taking away our right to go to church. They're taking away our community. They're taking away our family. They're trying to destroy Christmas. Of course, I don't justify what happened. It's disgusting. But at a certain point, you're just killing people and killing their physical health, mental health. People are going to lose it. It's not right. I don't agree with it. I condemn it fully. But if I were president or I were working for this intelligence community, I would be like, yeah, we can't do this forever. We can't treat hundreds of millions of people like they're lab rats, or else people are going to start freaking out and doing weird stuff. So as much as it's this guy's fault, and it's fully his fault, the government has done more damage than coronavirus this year. They've done more physical damage in not allowing people to work out. They've done more mental damage. I don't even have to explain that. Most healthy people would not even feel this. Most people get it and it's asymptomatic. They don't even know they have it. But they've treated healthy people like slaves and prisoners and lab rats. And this has such a damaging effect. And they know it. They're not stupid. They know it. So it's just disgusting to see how they're doing that. And the reason I even brought that up is because now they're kind of saying, well, this is the conspiracy. And they're going to use this, as always, to shut down more speech. So when a tragedy happens, the politician has a huge level up. And I'm not saying they did this. I don't think they did. But I don't personally think they don't like this stuff, because if they want to pass more speech legislation, if they want to take over, if they want Amazon to grow as your restaurant dies, you can't just do that. If they would have done it any other year, people would have freaked out at them. But if you have COVID-19, now you have a virus. This virus was the perfect thing for them. I'm not saying that it didn't come randomly or whatever, but isn't it clear? It's like, oh, coronavirus came. Well, now let's do this, 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 and this. The climate change agenda, this, this, this. We're going to do this. George Floyd, this, that, this. Next thing you know, everybody's suffering on the floor, pleading for freedom with a muzzle on their face. And Jeff Bezos is skyrocketing. Bill Gates is skyrocketing. Elon Musk is skyrocketing. Although he did a good job opposing it, all of these billionaires and these evil people, their net worth is skyrocketing. They're swallowing everything up. They have no motivation to stop this. So, when a tragedy happens, you lose freedom. When a tragedy happens, they finally have justification to take your First Amendment, Second Amendment. So with this Nashville thing, it's all sketchy. Someone blows up a telecommunication. It's terrible. The mayor laughs. He puts everybody in curfew. And now they're starting to lay the groundwork for people to question the telecommunication system. And I've never really thought twice about it years ago, but the more they censor, the more they silence, the more people get skeptical and the more bottled up people get. So if you really want to stop violence and stop this type of stuff, cutting away free speech is not the answer. And also not having a discussion about it is not an answer, because it's just evil. In general, I'm going to move to the next story because it's very similar. I posted it twice on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and such. Washington Post said how to reopen the economy safely, immunity passports, and then CNN Business said if you want to travel next year, you may need a vaccine passport. So they're already pushing this agenda. COVID-19, a virus that 99% plus whatever, it's got an astronomical survival rate. And there's a lot of stuff they're not telling us as well. When you see a lower survival rate in the elderly, they're like, oh my God, they're dying at a 95% rate or whatever. But do you think there's any virus that elderly people don't have a higher death rate? Like, why would an elderly person or a fat person have the same survival chances? That doesn't exist in pneumonia. It doesn't exist in the flu. There's not, I don't think, a virus or disease on the planet that, hurts you worse if you're in peak physical condition as opposed to if you're 95 years old. That's how everything works. But they don't tell you that. That's why you should read the book, How to Lie with Statistics. That's going to be my next book. They've read the book. They're implementing the book fully, lying with statistics, giving you half truths and half information and graphs out of context. And everyone freaks out, but they don't use common sense. Well, like, okay, if it's a 95% death rate for them, what is pneumonia like? Or what is this like? Because obviously, there's probably every virus affects that age group worse. But anyway, they've used this all as a justification to push for vaccine passports and immunity passports. So what is this immunity passport going to look like? Is it going to benefit people who have immunity because they got the virus? Because if you get the virus, apparently you have immunity. But if you get the vaccine, you only have immunity for a certain amount of time, and you got to get the vaccine later. So this is really just a scheme to get everybody to get the vaccine and, control society. They're trying to put us in a slave state. And then you see these two stories next to each other. It's like, Obviously, I condemn violence, I condemn bombing, I condemn bigotry. It's all evil, it's all horrible. I'm not, suggesting anybody say anything about 5G. Do your own research, whatever. But it's like, okay, they say this guy's crazy for thinking that it's going to control them, and then they're going to use that as justification to stop anybody who suggests that they're controlling us when they're obviously controlling us. I mean, that's clearly what's happening. Last year, I could go to a store. This year I get screamed at. Last year I could get a coffee. This year I get screamed at. The whole country is being controlled, from Dallas, Texas to West Palm Beach, Florida, to Los Angeles, California, to New York City, New York. The whole country is under some form of control. We've lost freedom. We've lost our rights. They're injecting fear into people. They're injecting stress. Everything's more stressful to do now. They're hurting more people with their stress and fear than COVID is hurting. And they know this. They're not stupid. The Fauci types, you think they don't know? When Dr. Fauci, you can't even question him. He says in February that masks are not, ideal during a pandemic. He said, even at the height of a pandemic, it doesn't make sense for everybody to wear masks. He said, because, it's like you're fiddling with the mask. You put it on and off and you touch the mask and then you touch your face. It ends up being worse than better. He said that in February. And that's just obvious. If you have all these people working 5-hour shifts with a mask that's reusable, that they're touching and putting off, and then you touch it, it becomes a dirty napkin. And then you take that dirty napkin and you shove it in your face. That's how you get sick. So you can make the argument scientifically that these are hurting more people than they're helping. At bare minimum, it's a wash. It's hurting and helping the same amount of people. And with the fear and the stigma and the fact that you can't see people's smiles and the social isolation, it's having a net negative impact. But they know this, folks. And that's why we have to stop acting stupid, because I see a lot of channels, they're just perpetually acting shocked. I get it. I understand. It's tough to know what to do, but it's like, it doesn't make sense. It's like, it doesn't make sense because they're just moving the goalposts and destroying everything for as long as possible. So with the vaccine passport, it's going to be interesting to see what happens. If they try to implement that, will people stand up for themselves, or will it be like the masks? You have, 90% of the population, 95% of the population completely submit to it, and then you lose, because now if you go into CVS, I don't know if you guys saw that viral video. If you see that video on of her at CVS, the lady, they're acting like she's the lunatic. So it's like you could not stand up to the vaccine passport, but if enough people do, you're going to be the maniac. You can't fly, you can't travel, you can't go here. It's going to be miserable for us if it's only 5 or 10% of the population, which it might be. So everybody who thinks that this can't happen, think again, because this was all implemented super, super easily. And a lot of people are saying, well, it's a free market. I think there'll be certain airlines that don't allow it. Possibly, but here's where I think people are wrong. They say, well, certain airlines, they can't afford to lose the money. They can afford to lose the money because companies like Amazon, they're hoping these, airlines and such go out of business. They're like, if they go out of business, like, Richard Branson bought an airline and sold it. Warren Buffett's invested in airlines in the stock market before, even though he said he wasn't going to. It's like they have no problem if these people tank. They're like, we'll buy the thing that you left, and then they'll implement it themselves. So if it's not a big businessman like a Bezos coming in to buy it up, if they fail, it will be the government keeping them afloat. If you look at the omnibus bills that they always pass, someone said that Trump just signed it. I got to check it out. I'll do another video maybe tomorrow about it. But they'll sign them. They'll give them money to do what they say. And once they give you the money, you tend to have to do what they do. So it's going to be a little bit difficult to get around. So we'll see what happens. But we kind of saw this coming. And it's really going to take tens of millions of people of saying enough is enough. And here's where I've become unpopular in some ways, and in many ways even more popular. And not that I care about popularity, but it's been stressing me out, Twitter and other social platforms, because normally things don't get to me. But after 9 months of isolation, I can't go anywhere, I can't shop, I can't travel. It's really starting to get to me a little bit. And, seeing so many people turn against me, I don't care. But it's a little disheartening when it's your own people. And I'm not even doing that much. I'm just questioning the president of the United States, because for 3 years, Trump was crushing it. I thought he was doing a fantastic job. Even the things that I disagreed with, like the speech bills and the bump stocks and stuff, I was like, I don't agree with it. It's not good. But at the same time, I'll give him a pass, although maybe I shouldn't. But it's like he's done so much. Let's ignore it. And then this year, I can't ignore this year. This year has been miserable. This year, I'm grateful for what I have, and I like to be appreciative, but this year is a travesty to America. This is one of the worst years in regards to freedom and the Constitution in my entire lifetime, perhaps in most people's entire lifetime, even if they're 70 or 80. And I'm looking at the facts of what's going on and who's doing what, and I'm getting screamed at by Trump supporters. And it's starting to make me think that this is part of the plan, or it's just a failed plan where it's like good cop, bad cop. You have the left wing who says good cop Fauci, bad cop Trump, orange man bad, Fauci man good. Trump is bad with Operation Warp Speed, but Fauci will tell me when to take it. They'll do whatever. They're wearing masks in front of the Christmas tree. It's like whatever. But then you have the on the right wing, it's good cop, bad cop, where it's like Fauci's the bad cop and Trump's the good cop. So Trump, if you really look at him the whole way, and people keep being so nasty to me, so bitter to me, and it's fine, but I don't need it this year. I mean, you could disagree with me and question me, but the attacks that people are getting so vicious and so nasty, and I've been taking it all year, and my crime all year was accurately reporting what's going on. In March and April, I'll tell you guys that I was saying, these lockdowns are devastating. I said, this is going to lead to this, this, and this. And I was doing accurate reporting on the death rate, on the lockdowns, on the quarantines. And it wasn't liberals that attacked me. I mean, they don't like me, but I guess they just leave me alone. I don't know. They realize that I have a big bubble and they just like keep away. It's like demonic spirits. But in general, it's been right-wing Trump supporters and QAnon supporters who said, anomaly, F you, you're working for the deep state because you're reporting on the They thought the lockdowns were good. They like Trump so much that they're not even willing to admit that he ever does anything wrong. It's becoming a full-blown co-religion where it's like, listen, I like Trump, but these lockdowns suck. They're like, oh, they can't possibly suck because Trump has a 5-dimensional plan. These people have become full-blown lunatics and have become a huge thorn in my side this year. Literally hundreds of them were swarming me in March and April when we were locked down because I was trying to explain to people we're locked down and maybe we shouldn't be locked down. And they thought we should be locked down because they thought Podesta was going to get arrested and Ellen DeGeneres was getting arrested. So they said, anomaly, shut up. We want to be locked down. This is good that everyone's business is dying and everyone's losing their jobs because this is part of Trump's plan. They went full-blown psychopath on me for 3 months. Now, those same people, Dylan Wheeler apologized to me. He's one person. I appreciate him because he went full-blown psycho on me in March and April. He's since apologized. No one else has apologized. And I know dozens of influencers who treated me like crap all year for being honest and being right, and they've never apologized. They've never said sorry. They just keep moving from lie to cult-like movement, and it's disgusting. So let's fast forward to May. May, Trump rolls out Operation Warp Speed. He says, guys, I have a new plan for America, Operation Warp Speed. I'm going to get a vaccine done faster than anybody else. And I looked at it. I read the bill. I read who he was funding or whatever. It was a section of the bill or whatever. And I'm like, okay, Trump is funding Moderna. He ended up buying doses of Pfizer. He didn't fund them in Operation Warp Speed, but he bought the doses. AstraZeneca, all of these big pharmacy companies Johnson & Johnson. I know a lot about Pfizer and Johnson & Johnson. These are not new companies to me. I know about their history. Personally, I know, certain big pharma companies do good work, but overall, I think the country's overprescribed, overmedicated. I think that the pharmacy industry has already become out of control. And because of Reagan's vaccine child safety bill, they don't have liability. So when you watch a television commercial and you see a pill, they tell you this can cause blah, 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 blah. They have like the auction guy read out, blah, 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 and you're like, whoa, like, wow, this pill is like supposed to make me lose weight, but it causes 50 side effects. They have to tell you on the television, because if they don't tell you and it happens to you like it does to some people, they're going to get sued. And you've seen Johnson & Johnson products on the television getting sued years in advance for the baby powder. And then you've seen Purdue Pharmacy in court. You've seen dozens of pharmacy pills that made mistakes that had to run lawyer commercials and give out a bunch of settlement money. With vaccines, they don't tell you the ingredients. They don't tell you the side effects because they're not liable for anything that they do. And it's been that way for decades. So if anything happens, the media will smear you. They'll steal your page. They'll make you look like a psychopath on Twitter and a lunatic, and they'll cover everything up because it happens, but they don't have liability. They don't have to tell you what happens because the government pays out their money. If you look up that bill that I told you about that Reagan passed, it connected the government and big pharma and pretty much put a hush-hush on any sort of negative things that happen to vaccines. Although, like with any medication, there's pros and cons, and for certain situations, they've screwed up. It's happened dozens of times, sometimes purposely, other times by mistake. When it comes to Bayer, Purdue Pharmacy, their track record is not spotless, so it's okay to question big pharma. So the point I'm getting to is I know this stuff. And when Trump rolled out Operation Warp Speed, I read what it was, and I said in May, as soon as it came out, I said, I don't agree with it. Listen, I like the president. I think he's done a good job up until this point. But I'm not going to sit here and lie to you. I don't care if I don't get invited to events. First of all, No one not invites me to events because they like it. They like the truth. Republican Party people, they say, Anomaly, thank you. You're one of the only honest people. A bunch of these kids are phonies. They do anything for the clout, anything for the attention, anything to be Mr. Trump. They're riding his coattails. That's why people like me. That's why I stand out. I'm not bragging. I'm just saying they don't cut them like me anymore. Okay. They don't make them like me. There's a lot of riders, not a lot of real ones. But I got so much backlash in May because I reported on this, and my own peers were lashing out at me saying, Anomaly, you don't understand. Operation Warp Speed is Trump fighting Bill Gates. And I said, no, it's not. It's clearly not. He's funding Moderna, which has been Gates back since 2016. Operation Warp Speed is not Trump fighting the pharmacy industry. Operation Warp Speed is Trump bowing down to the pharmacy industry and giving them everything they want because he decided he wants to be the guy who rushes the vaccine the fastest. On every level of medicine, science, and ethics, I disagree with it. Because of that Vaccine Safety Act, I think it's unethical to rush something this fast, especially a new thing like an mRNA vaccine, because they're not going to be liable. And Bolsonaro knows it. That's why I said it. So I don't agree with Operation Warp Speed. The amount of lies I see from the Trump movement, the amount of hatred that I get on Twitter from Trump supporters has made me almost despise the MAGA movement. And of course, I go to a Trump rally, I go to a Trump event. Everybody loves me there. I'm not saying everyone, but people take pictures. They stop me every 2 seconds. Like, I'm a huge hit. I'm not knocking my own people. They love me, and I appreciate all the support I get from Trump supporters. It's been a blessing. I'm glad to help the president when he deserved help and he was getting attacked unethically. But now, when I report the truth because it's the right thing to do, the amount of hate and vitriol and nastiness and cult-like delusion I get from people who just don't want to admit that it really happened is disgusting. It's evil. You could even say it's evil. So it's like, if you want to make a fair argument for Operation Warp Speed, I'm not going to knock you, but these people are not fair. They're not accurate. They're not nice. They make up things. They're like full-blown liars. They're like, well, this is what it is. It's a super secret plan. No, it's not. And he's become a huge vaccine salesman. So it's crunch time for humanity. It's not about me. It's about the millions of people suffering. Am I suffering? I'm okay. But yeah, I mean, I can't go to the gym. I can't go to the store. I can't shop. I can't get on a plane. I can't travel here. It's miserable. It's miserable not being able to get a cup of coffee and seeing somebody's face. It's miserable being treated like I'm infected when I'm a 31-year-old healthy person who takes care of myself and hasn't been sick in years. It wears down on you mentally, physically. It's draining. It's miserable. It sucks. This year has sucked. Although I'm very grateful I've done well career-wise, it's an evil, evil year. So that's what the truth is. How are we going to get out of this? We're not going to get out of it if the president that we think is fighting for us is funding the people who are doing this to us and lobbing up a Biden or a Kamala president or himself or a blue state to dunk it in our face. Operation Warp Speed is going to be used against us with these vaccine passports. And it's okay to admit that. But what I'm starting to realize is I think they've played the MAGA movement. And it's not popular to say to the movement because if you look at what's going on, it's like good cop, bad cop. Trump is good cop fighting for the election. No one's paying attention to the lockdowns. Trump has no plan to end it. He's tweeted 1 time or 2 times about it in the last week, which I'm grateful for. But he's tweeted about Moderna 20 times. Giuliani, Moderna is the greatest accomplishment. They're acting like big pharma funding is the greatest thing Trump's ever done. It's the worst thing he's ever done. This year is the worst thing he's ever done. So as they're doing that, they have all the Trump supporters in MAGA running in circles around the election. And in my opinion, I'm not trying to be controversial. This is just how I feel. I think they're setting us up. I think they're setting us up to abolish the Electoral College. Before this year, there was no justification to abolish the Electoral College. If the Democrats could, they would love to abolish the Electoral College, because if they don't have the Electoral College, the whole country will be like equivalent to Atlanta and Georgia. You know what I'm saying? If there's funny business in Atlanta, they could flip the whole state of Georgia. If there's funny business in Detroit, they could flip the whole state of Michigan. Now, if you abolish the Electoral College, you have no chance. You have no chance of winning another election, or it's going to be very, very hard. And Trump is challenging the system. He's saying, listen, you go here. And I'm okay with him challenging the system. But now that I'm watching how all this unfolds, he's selling vaccines. Nobody's paying attention to the lockdown. I think by next election, they're going to fully get rid of the Electoral College. And they actually have a legitimate reason. I know people don't want to think like this, but now they could say, well, Trump tried to get Pence to go rogue. Trump tried to get electorates to go rogue. We can't have a system that doesn't work. And I don't agree with anything the Democrats do, but in some ways they're right. The Electoral College only works if people follow it. If you don't follow the Electoral College, it's not a viable system. So not only has the American economy been imploded, but now the entire election process has been imploded, from the machines to the mail-in ballots to also the electoral process. So we'll see what happens in the next 4 years. But if Trump doesn't pull this off, I'll tell you what, Democrats will do the same thing that he did, but they have the balls to pull it off. And I think that's the difference, it looks like to me, between Republicans and Democrats. Republicans play by the rules, Democrats don't play by the rules. But Republicans play by the rules just enough to act like they're doing something, but they don't actually enforce the rules. So playing by the rules without enforcing the rules is saying you're going to drain the swamp. Yeah, Trump is not a dictator. He's not done that much bad stuff, but he didn't do anything. He didn't drain the swamp. The only time he went full dictator was to give away bump stock ban on the Second Amendment. He infringed on the Second Amendment. He did an anti-Semitism school ban for Dershowitz and Kushner, who pretty much runs his administration, which was anti-First Amendment. And he passed the emergency order. He declared a state of emergency, which implemented the lockdowns to begin with, which is one of the most horrific crimes against humanity in a while. So he's not a dictator enough to hold anyone accountable. He's not a dictator enough to end the lockdowns, but he could start them. He can't give us back our First Amendment, but he can infringe on them. You get what I'm saying? The Republican Party plays by the rules, but they don't even enforce the rules. It's like they play by them just enough to act like they're cute, and then they don't do anything. Whereas the Democrats, if they get to the next election and say we have a candidate that's bigger than Trump and wins by a landslide, you think the Democrats are going to allow the Electoral College to play out? Why would they? Trump pretty much justified with this election. The Electoral College is moot. Do what you want. And the Democrats have the balls to actually do it. They're not going to play by the rules, and they're going to stick to it. It's like the Republicans just do just enough to act like they're neat and clean, but not enough to actually clean anything up. And we had a Republican House, Senate, and Congress and presidency for 2 years, and they didn't do that much. I guarantee you, the same way that Democrat governors, they have the red mares by the balls. Okay, Newsom has Huntington Beach by the balls, and they barely do anything. And then in red states like in Dallas, in Texas, and in blue cities in red states, they don't do anything. So it's like, why is Gavin Newsom able to control his mayors, but Ron DeSantis and Abbott can't control their mayors? I'll tell you why. It's because they use their full power, and sometimes they flex a little too hard. Gavin Newsom says, if you don't do what I say, you're going to lose funding. If you don't do what I say, I'm not going to give you the money in the state. So all the red, cities, they're all afraid. All the red mayors in California are afraid. Abbott doesn't do that. DeSantis doesn't do that. Trump doesn't do that. But you know who will? Biden will do that. If, God forbid, Biden gets in office, he'll hold your whole state hostage. If Texas decides to go rogue, he'll hold federal funds or state funds, and Texas will get scared. That's what Republicans do. They do just enough to do absolutely nothing. They have powerful positions like the presidency. They sign away emergency orders. They sign away all your freedoms. They fund big pharma, and then the base freaks out at me for saying it. They're like, he's got a plan. He sold out this year. I don't know what to tell you. I hope he has a plan, but if not, you have to have a plan. And if I say, hey, let's hold him accountable, and everyone freaks out at me and is mean to me, it's like, okay, I guess just run in circles around the election, challenge the system, hope you win, and then we'll talk about it next year. But to me, this just looks like a big trap all the way around. I feel like they good cop, bad cop this. I think Trump crushed it for 3 years, and I think, honestly, I think they got to him. I don't think he's a horrible person. I think he, instead of going the route of vaccine safety with Robert F. Kennedy Jr., he went the route of Fauci and Bill Gates. And it's very clear. It's blaringly obvious to anybody that will intake the information that isn't good for their agenda. I like Trump, but when I see information that I disagree with or I don't want to hear, I don't just block it out. La, la, la. I'm like, oh, damn. I didn't think he did that, but he did do that. So when I heard RFK Jr. talk about it, he explained it. And then I watched Trump this year. He's like Mr. Pfizer, Mr. Moderna. He's not fighting Bill Gates. Only in people's heads is he fight. He's funding Bill Gates. So I don't want that to happen, but it is happening. So I reported accurately. The difference is people block it out. They block out any information they don't want to hear. And then that fuels their narrative that Trump is Jesus Christ reincarnated, and he's literally the return of Jesus Christ. He can't possibly make a mistake. You have millions of Trump supporters who will question their own mom, question their own dad, question their own kids, question their own husband and wife, question their best friends in the world and disagree with them, but they won't question Trump. That's how dedicated they are. It's become a full-blown cult. And I like Trump more than most people, or at least I did. So it's not like I'm trying to be mean, like you can't like the guy. When he was crushing, I liked it. But as soon as he stopped crushing, I didn't just run off a cliff with him. I'm like, wait, the whole country's locked down, bro, and you're selling a vaccine that's about to be thrown in my face. He's lobbing it up. He's John Stockton lobbing it up to Biden, Kamala, or Gavin Newsom, or the airlines, whoever it is, whether he wins or loses, and they're going to jam it in our face. And Trump supporters are going to destroy history and say, "Oh, Trump, it's not Trump's fault. He didn't do this. It was Kamala. Oh no, it's Joe Biden. Oh no, it's not Trump. It's Gavin Newsom. Oh, it's not Trump. It's it's Governor Abbott. It's not Trump. It's the mayor." It's not, it's like, no, it was, he knows how they operate. He knows that he has no power in California. He knows that he has no power in multinational corporations. He knows that all 50 states are still under a mask mandate via multinational corporation, even in Florida. Even I'm going to Texas soon in a blue city, and they're telling me I have to wear a mask everywhere. Who's lying to me on here? They're like, oh, if you go to Texas, yeah, if you're in a red area, that's great. But I'm just saying, in all 50 states, the country's a shell of what it once was. It's miserable to travel. It's miserable to go to the city. If a real leader wanted to end them, he would have a plan. He wouldn't just be selling vaccines for whoever gets into power is going to jam them in our face with this vaccine passport. That's going to happen whether he's in office or not. But people don't want to admit that because it's like, it's become a full-blown, I don't want to hear any information that doesn't suggest that he's doing everything right. And it's costing us our whole country right now. I don't really know what else to say. It's okay to like someone. It's okay to disagree with them. I think Reagan was probably a good president, but he made some really bad errors, or they threatened him and he made those decisions. And we have to now live with the results of things like the National Vaccine Child Safety Act, which in my opinion is really not good. It doesn't mean Reagan's a horrible person, but you realize he's a human. You realize the government's corrupt, and you realize a president goes in good and a lot of times comes out bad, either via threats or just via money and power manipulation. And that's okay. But it's not okay to literally throw your whole country away. As far as in my opinion, throw your whole country away. And people think this stuff's not happening. It's not because it's not happening. It's because they refuse to take information that goes against their narrative. And there's full-blown movements that have been made to tell people what they want to hear. I'll give you an example. Then I'm going to get to some questions. On InfoWars, Alex Jones, he recently fired David Knight. David Knight seems like a pretty honest guy as far as InfoWars go. He got fired, I believe, for reporting about Operation Warp Speed. And he also reported there was a guy on an InfoWars who said that there were super secret watermarked ballots and that Trump had them all caught. So that got millions of views. Everybody was talking about it. It was one of the most viewed videos on InfoWars' site. So Alex, I think, liked the views. It's money, it's views, it's attention. It's not true. It was not Steve Pisniak or whatever his name is. God bless the guy. What he said was not true. It was a fake story that deceived all of the Trump supporters and got millions of views. So, that's like the romantic lie. And David Knight called it out. And David Knight was honest about Operation Warp Speed. So he got fired because the truth doesn't get as many views as the romantic lie that Trump supporters want to hear. That's a minor, example of what's really going on in the movement that I think it's like, I could tell you anything. I've supported him for a while, but if I report that Operation Warp Speed is not what you want it to be, a lot of people would rather hear a fake Q channel that says, guys, you don't understand. I'm a super secret wizard and I work with military intel. A bunch of these people are total con artists, folks. They have no military intel. They have no deep knowledge. They're just frauds sitting in front of their computer who've accumulated a whole movement telling people that they just wait for the lockdown. The lockdown's good. It's bad. Their accuracy ratings like 10%, 15%. They don't care how accurate they are because their whole movement is built on ego. It's I'm so much better and smarter than everybody. You can't understand me. I'll tell you what I know. And it's so people love that stuff because it's like, man, why would I listen to I don't want to hear that Operation Warp Speed is funding Bill Gates. I'd rather listen to this woman who tells me that Operation Warp Speed is a secret Trump operation to fight Bill Gates. It's not. That's a total lie, but it sounds good if you like Trump. It's like, well, this feels better to me because now I have hope in the fact that it's going to come. It's really evil what these people are doing, and they've given me a lot of hate. So the point I'm trying to get to is, with the vaccine certificate, it's very, very real, and I'm starting to feel like we got majorly played. And even if I say the most basic thing where it's like, listen, in my personal perspective, and then I'm going to get to comments, Trump is the leader of the free world. He's the leader of America until at least January, if not longer, depends what he has up his sleeve. He's the leader. He's had all year to be the leader. He's passed an emergency order to sign away our rights. He's funded big pharma. He's bragged about Operation Warp Speed 20 times, 30 times, 40 times. He could be, and he should be, talking about the lockdown. He should have some sort of plan to end the lockdown. He should, as the leader of the free world, see his constituents suffering. We're suffering. Millions of people are suffering. Restaurants are suffering. Businesses are suffering. Kids are suffering. Teenagers are suffering. College kids are suffering. It's his responsibility as the president of the United States to have some sort of plan or message, and he pretty much doesn't. But his supporters don't seem to care. So it seems like a trap to me. It's like, okay, they're going to blow up the electoral college. They're going to make it so the Democrats are going to remove it next year. They've fractured the base, so you have tens of millions of people who would normally be fighting against the lockdowns. Now they don't care about lockdowns at all, just a little bit, but they're focused on the election. So they're going to run in circles for 6 months and just let the country burn as he's lobbing up vaccines so they could jam it in your face. And when they jam these vaccines in your face, like they're going to do, everyone's going to distort history. He had no part in it. He had every part in it. He was a main figure in locking down and funding them. That's what he did. He bragged about it. He wants to be Mr. Vaccine guy. He had every part in it. He knew they were going to do that. He just doesn't care. He thinks it's good for his legacy or something to be Mr. Vaccine. So just admit that. And then we could maybe beat it next year. But what I see happening is after January, I see millions of people just complaining about the election all year, not focused on any of it, making up excuses, making up lies, and it's gonna keep us in this position. So, in general, this next year is gonna be everything, just like this year was. This year, if you want to be honest, we failed. I think our country failed. Trump failed. He got an F. We got an F. The people of the world are sitting ducks. We're sitting ducks for any plan that they have. We've proven that we're submissive. We're completely compliant. We can't do anything about it. And when it comes to Trump, he's played in on it all along. And when it comes to his supporters, a lot of them are more interested in making excuses for why Trump did what he did instead of actually fighting what he's doing. So we've proven on every level, from left wing to right wing, from Trump to MAGA to libertarian or whatever, that most of the population is completely submissive. So we're not in a great spot. I'm not saying it to doom and gloom. I'm just saying overall, we get an F- this year. Trump got an F. We got an F. We're sitting ducks right now for anything that they want to do. So we have only a few months or a year to really show, are we as tough as we think we are? Are we the, conservative movement, the freedom movement in this country who will demand freedom? Or are we so easily fooled by personality that they could just throw us a Trump and we'll just completely ignore it? Are we so easily controlled that if Trump says election or this, if he says jump, people will jump? So everyone's at the behest of him right now, and he's not really doing that much. So we'll see what happens, because this whole year is building up to next year. So will we stop complying? Will there be a mass lockdown movement, or will it be another year of just running the sheep in circle? George Floyd election, theories, trust the plan. Trump's got a super secret plan. They've run us in circles. And I believe in humanity, but I'm not going to lie. It's disappointing when you see so many of your allies get so mad when you say this type of stuff. You're like, well, if this is how you feel, then yeah, we're not going to get it done. But if people snap out of it and say, listen, we have to get it done, regardless who the president is, whether it's Trump, Biden, this is inexcusable. We should not be making excuses. Trump should feel like he has to do it. If he has enough time to brag about his Moderna connection with Bill Gates, he has enough time to fight the lockdowns. If he has enough time to give away all this money to Sudan, Israel, Pakistan, gender studies, India, I mean, who didn't they give money to? What foreign country didn't get our money? You know what? And it's not just China, folks. I know everybody likes to yell China, China, China. That's another thing I'm gonna rant about for a bit. I'm not a huge fan of China. The Chinese people I have no problem with. I don't blame the people for their leaders, but the communist Chinese government, not a fan of. I'm not a communist. I'm not a fan of their role in the political scheme. But Trump acts like he's fighting China. It's like I understand why I'm getting backlash, but I'm like, China knocked Trump out this year. He's getting blown out of the water by China. Trump's not winning against China. He's losing. China's doing pool parties. They're open. Their economy is going up. Ours is going down. Just because he screams China virus, that's just for the us peasants. It's like China virus, and we're like China virus, China virus. It's like, what's he really doing? He got blown out of the water by China this year. Our country's still not open. He has no plan. He's shilling for Moderna and Pfizer instead of actually fighting big pharma. And also, we're forced in all 50 states, if we fly, to wear a mask. If you buy a mask at an airport, like millions of people do every day, they're made in China. So Trump's talking big trash to China. China's blowing us out of the water. It's like it's a big show for a bunch of people who just rather buy in for the clout, like China, China. It's like Trump's losing to China really bad. He's getting blown out by China. He's doing nothing to fight China. If he wants to fight China, open up the country, end the mask mandate. Because if oh, China's so bad, they're attacking us. Well, then why are we putting millions of Chinese masks on our face every day? How is it a good idea for him to talk crap about China? And when I go to the, if I don't have a mask when I go to the airport, they say, here, put this Chinese mask. Everything's made in China. We're still getting imports. It's all over the place. And we have a mandate in our country that we have to put Chinese cloth on our face or else we can't get on an airline. So do you think China's that stupid if they're at war with America that they're going to have a made in America face mask mandate, that US products are getting shipped in and that they have to stick to their face? No, China's not that stupid, but Trump is clearly that stupid, or our country's that stupid. So it's like, it's a whole circus. And on what planet is he fighting China? Someone said Moderna and Pfizer have been infiltrated by the CCP. That's another thing. If you Google CCP, Moderna, Pfizer, it's hard to find, but you can find an article that shows you that there's insiders from CCP, the Communist Chinese Party, in Pfizer and Moderna and many vaccine companies. So Trump's fighting Communist China by working with companies that have Communist Chinese people and forcing it on people. He's a total disaster this year, but people don't want to face that. They're just letting him run them in circles. I want to challenge him. I'm like, I know he's a strong guy. I'm not going to sit here and be like, oh my God, you're Abraham Lincoln. Bro, you blew it this year. If you don't fix this, you're worse than Obama and Bush. You took away more freedom than Obama did, which is pathetic. I lost everything this year. Okay. Luckily not my net worth. But as far as freedom, what's the point of having money if you can't do anything? I can't go on a cruise. I can't go here. I'm grateful for what I have, but it's like, there's no point in even having anything because you can't do anything. I'm glad I don't have to live in, I can afford to move and stuff, but it's like, they've taken all the joy, everything that was great about America away this year under the Trump administration. And he's bragging about vaccines while he screams China virus and does nothing to challenge China. So that's my message to him. You're not Abraham Lincoln. You're the worst president in modern history unless you have a plan for this. You're not a great leader. You're doing nothing. So people need to challenge him because he feels like he has to do nothing. And he's totally right. If he does nothing, if he goes out of office and lets Biden in, people are going to celebrate that. They're out in the streets in January 6th. Trump, Trump, Trump. What are you celebrating? It's not an anti-lockdown protest. It's a pro-Trump protest. People are more into just supporting him than they are with defending their own country. So if they're supporting the guy that's not supporting our country and he's selling vaccines as you're supporting him, it's not a good look. If you're supporting him and he's fighting China and he's really doing a lot and he's opening America, then it works, but he's not. He just signed the bill, I heard. Read that bill. That bill probably funds Gavi, which is Bill Gates' vaccine alliance, funds mass testing. He funded ventilators, all these systems in place. Once they put them in place, they're hard to get rid of, okay? Mass testing, they put this whole scheme out. Now you can't escape it. You get a test everywhere. It's there. It's stuck. He rolled it out. He did it. He funded it. He's still funding it. And then he sits back and say, I'm trying to end the lockdowns. Yeah, he's ending the lockdowns just as much as he's fighting China. He just says he is. Like, China virus. If you want to fight China, open the country and stop importing masks and making us wear masks at the airport that come from communist China. If not, it's all a show. If you want to fight for America, you can't sell vaccines. That's great. Okay, if people want to get vaccines, they can get mRNA vaccines. But these are going to be used against us. It's already happening. And he has no plan, no message, no speech to make people feel good about the lockdowns because he's done terribly. So, but he's built a base that doesn't even care anymore. It's like, they hate me for saying that. Well, I don't care. I care about the millions of children, the millions of elderly, all ages. What they're doing to this country is inexcusable. And if they can implement it, they could take it away. And everything that people say that Trump can't do, just wait till you have a Democrat president. They'll do everything that they said he couldn't do and more, just like Democrat governors do. Democrat governors put the kibosh on red mayors. Red governors do nothing. They get worked up by Democrat mayors, and Democrat mayors run the show. DeSantis does nothing. Abbott does nothing. They let Dallas and all the liberal cities run rampant and do whatever they want, mass mandates to galore. So at a certain point, we have to face this stuff, folks. I'm going to read a few comments, and then someone said, "Thanks for putting this out there." No problem. I mean, I can't do another year like this. This is insanity. So that's my message. And in general, I obviously don't agree with the vaccine passports, but it's a bigger problem, in my opinion, if we really want to fully solve it. The right wing, in my opinion, and I'm not trying to be mean. You guys know I love you. Uh, Needs to learn a little more. Like it seems so childish to me how everybody's acting, and it's really sad because it's crunch time for America, and they're running in circles, saying the same things on loop that they were saying a year ago. Just jokes about the Democrats. It's China. It's China. It's China. It's just as much Fauci and Trump as it is China. I would say it's more Fauci and Trump than China. This coronavirus, if you trace it, is not that damaging as far as what Fauci and Trump and Gavin Newsom and all these people did is worse than what China did. Our country is so, is so sold out. It's not just China. Why are they paying all these foreign countries? Because our politicians are sold out every which way to every company, every country. It's like yelling China and talking about the election is not going to solve the problem. But I know people want to pretend like it will. Someone said maybe you and Ali start a movement from to end the lockdowns from east to west. We'll see what happens. I mean, Ali's focused on the election, and I appreciate him. He's a firebrand. So we'll talk. I understand people want to talk about the election till January. I'm personally just not interested. So after January, we'll see what happens. Anomaly, is it possible that the reason why you and others have much less engagement on Facebook is because sane people have grown tired of trying to reason with people who aren't willing to be convinced? Well, no, because the reason I know why my reach is down on Facebook, because they told me I'll tell you this. So many people lie about being shadow banned. It's hard to believe anyone ever. Everyone's like, "Oh, this is happening to me." I know what I'm talking about. So if I tell you I'm being censored, I'm being censored. I'm being censored. They told me I'm being censored. They said, "You're fake news. We're going to limit your page, limit your reach." They've told me. They've warned me on the back end. All of this is being limited and restricted. So when I tell you I'm being shadow banned, I mean it. Everybody else, they're loose with it. They try to get donations and fundraising and just tell everybody. When I tell you, it's real. I told it for years. People said, "Anomaly, you're being banned." I said, "I'm not being banned. I'm getting 8 million views a week. If they're banning me, they're doing a bad job." They've cut my reach. Now, have they released it? I'll find out. But we'll see. All right, let's answer some questions. Someone said governors are in control of freeing us from the lockdowns. I mean, technically you're in control, but the psychological damage has been done super hard. But at a certain point, you're going to need a heavy hand to get rid of this. I have to be honest. Like, they used a heavy hand to take everything away. They used a heavy hand to close down churches. They used a heavy hand to put everybody in masks. They used a heavy hand. They used the state. They used the police. The left and the Democrats and even some Republicans, they use a heavy hand to steal your freedoms away. So when it comes to Trump, if he's not heavy-handed enough, he's useless at this point. He just yells China virus. It's like they call him a dictator. He's furthest thing from it. At a certain point, he should be heavy-handed, because when they're heavy-handed to steal everything away, he should be heavy-handed to take it back and do the right thing. But he's not. He just yells China virus and election. He's like a clown to me now. I had so much respect for him last year. Now he's just a vaccine-selling clown. He looks like a clown and just says, "Oh, Moderna. Oh, I'm so fast. I'm the fastest boy in the world. Nobody can beat me with the vaccines. I pump them out faster than anybody. Ooh, I'm the fast vaccine guy." He's like a giant clown. He does nothing to end the lockdowns. He does nothing to fight the governors. He does nothing to hold funds. He just funnels them money. That's how I feel. Someone said these are not laws. Governors cannot make laws. They're mandates and there's rules, and everybody's bought into them, and they've gotten the police involved. So it's a complex situation. But as far as, when you're the leader of the country and you have 70 million people on your side, you can determine what they do. If you're going to run them in circles and just say China, 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 and not do anything, and say election, 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 you're not helping. He could help even if it's a mental. He did very well the first couple of years. Someone said, "You're just mad because you're in a state that sucks." Every state sucks, bro. I'm so tired of you people. When I have to fly to Dallas, I get treated like a slave. When I have to fly to a blue city in Florida, I get treated like a slave. The whole country freaking sucks, bro. And this is why I'm disgusted. I don't even like to stream anymore. I mean, I'm enjoying myself today, but I don't even feel connected to a lot of people. I mean, millions of people I do. I appreciate you guys. I don't want to let one low energy clown ruin the show, but It's like you're more passionate about making excuses for this. You're like a PR team for the devil. You're like, well, it's not that bad. It's like, no, Texas sucks compared to last year. Florida sucks compared to last year. Every state blows compared to last year. Alaska sucks compared to last year. Anchorage is not even a free city anymore. So stop being a PR team for the devil. You're like Satan's little baby daddy. You're like, it's okay. It's okay to be like this because that's only your state. It's every state, loser. I'm so tired of you devils. It's like, you're more excited to make excuses for it. You're like, well, I don't wear a mask. I live out here. It's like, cool, good for you. While the rest of the country suffers. I'm going to Texas. It's not free. I'm asking people, can I go here? Can I go there? Oh no, you can't go. It's Texas. That's okay with you? This is why Republicans lose. No offense. It's cowardly. They're like, Texas is a shell of what it once was. Dallas is a shell of what it once was. Austin is a shell of what it once was. Red areas are getting shittier all across the country, from California to Texas to Florida. The whole country is a shell of what it once was. But that's okay. You'd rather make excuses for it than save it. This is why Republicans get blown out of the water. It's pathetic. I'm so sick of these people. I'm not even from Texas, but if I was, I would not look at Texas and be like, "Oh, this is okay." I'd be like, "This, it's not okay." And you're gonna turn blue in 4 years because your idiot governor's like, "Ooh, Oracle, yay, we're getting oracles coming to the." Yeah, you know what? They're gonna bring a bunch of Democrat lobbying money, and they're gonna funnel money to Democrats, and eventually they're gonna flip your city, and they're gonna flip your whole state, moron. No offense, but it's like I'm so sick of these people. Maybe it is offense. Someone said, I live in Texas and it sucks here. The whole country sucks. It's like, are you paid operatives or are you just like an idiot? You're like, I love Trump so much, I'm just going to pretend like the make America great again. Oh, it's so great. It's like, what? Where do you live? Yeah. Certain areas, red areas of certain red states are cool. Certain areas suck. In all 50s, I would say the best state's South Dakota, but there's even workers in South Dakota who have to wear masks. So either you want to reverse it or you don't. You guys are worse than Democrats. You're like, this is so great. Yay, we're slaves. Someone said, I grew up in Austin and it's turned into a garbage heap. Oh, it's every area is worse. And in any area, when the blue areas get worse, it leaks out into the red area. So if you live in a red state, eventually your cities get shittier. And then if you live in a red area, eventually your red areas get shittier. And in 10 years, you're going to have Dallas is going to look like Austin. And then in 20 years, Fort Worth is going to look like Dallas. And that's how the cycle goes. And a bunch of morons just make excuses for it. It's so pathetic. It's so pathetic. It's insane. I don't want to be part of a movement that's this pathetic. Next year, maybe I won't talk about politics anymore because they've fully brainwashed tens of millions of people. They're like, well, when Trump does Operation Warp Speed, it's a super secret plan. It's a super secret plan that Trump is going to fight Bill Gates in my mind because I'm too fake to admit what's going on. It's like, okay, then I don't want to be part of your movement. If that's how dumb you are. Well, anomaly, if we fully abolish the Electoral College and do nothing and Sidney Powell runs us in circles for a month, then we're going to fight the deep state. It's like, yeah, okay. Tell me that in 3 years when they abolish the Electoral College because you guys didn't do enough. But whatever. Go throw a fit in January and go celebrate a vaccine salesman. See how well it works. Alan Palmer said, lost more freedom under Trump than any president in history. He killed small businesses. Travel industry is dead. Cruises took a huge hit. Thanks for common sense. Thank you, Alan. His presidency was worse. But here's the difference. I know they threw a curveball at him. I get it. Bolsonaro's trying to fight it. Trump is not trying to fight it. He's fully caved. He's Mr. Vaccine. He doesn't care. He's clearly shown this year he doesn't give a crap about me. I was locked in my house like a prisoner. And Trump was meeting with my governor, giving him the thumbs up, giving him ventilators, giving him tests, and bragging about it. I found out earlier this year that Trump didn't care about me. I waited till the election. I said, maybe after the election, he's better than Biden. Biden sucks. I can't let this guy win. And then after the election, he just got worse. He's just selling the vaccine harder than ever, setting me up for failure, saying nothing about 100,000 restaurants went out of business. He says nothing. Millions of small businesses, the whole country's in shambles, and he doesn't seem to give two shits about it. And he doesn't have to because people are like, you're better than Abe Lincoln. It's like Stockholm syndrome. It's like all these other influencers just want clout. They just want to wear a red hat and be popular and go to the festivals and poop their pants and be like, ooh, my poop smells better than yours. Like, they're a bunch of frauds. I'm so tired of all these people. It's like, maybe if I go, I'm the best boy. I'm the best Trump supporter. I'll pretend like communism is secretly a good idea when he does it. When Trump does communism, it's a really good thing. I mean, socialism sucks unless it's full-blown communism. Then I'm going to make excuses for it. I mean, it's just you, Anomaly, because you live in a blue state. I live in a red area, but I've also traveled to red states, and they suck too. South Dakota was cool for Sturgis because it was a full-blown festival, and they decided that. But besides that, someone said, I wish I didn't believe so much what you say. Well, you don't have to. So glad you're speaking the truth. Trump can't grow a beard, and Melania's probably a dude. That was a funny super chat. That was a super chat. That wasn't me, but I don't know. Someone said, do you only answer questions from people who send your money? Well, clearly not. I just answered your question. No, but they get priority. Someone said the vaccine is for the fearful. He's patronizing it. Guys, you're never gonna get it. We're gonna live in Groundhog Day, folks. It's gonna be Groundhog Day. You're gonna see the same stream 1,000 times, and you're gonna be like, why? People say the same things to me since April. He's rushing the vaccine to patronize people. Well, now the vaccine's out. They're not gonna open the country, and they're gonna take that vaccine and jam it down your throat, whether you want it or not, and use it against you and shut down social circles. So you can't fight the left by becoming the left. Trump gave up to Big Pharma. He's a Big Pharma salesman. Oh, we're going to fight the left by being the left. Oh, Anomaly, you don't understand. He's just trying to get it to the people. Okay, well, now watch what happens. Is the country going to open? No. Is anyone going to apologize to me? Any of these fraudulent, cowardly influencers who could never be 1/50th as good as I am? And it's not a competition, but it's like all they do is lie. And I actually try to be accurate. Are they ever going to apologize to me for lying to everybody? No, they told me, Anomaly, when Trump rushes the vaccine, they're going to open the country. Duh. No, they're not. Obviously, Lucy with the football. Whoa. And you fall. Oh, I had no idea. Well, that's because you're a moron, or you're just a total liar, or your IQ's 12. I don't know. Pick one. So now it's December. The country's still locked down. It's worse than it was a couple months ago. And Fauci says, till 2024. Oh, you can't figure out yet that the more you do what the left wants you to do, the more they change the goalposts. There's a new strand, guys. The new strands for the new vaccine. We're going to need a new vaccine. The vaccine only works 5 times a year. You can't travel with it. But Trump, it's like, it's Groundhog Day. It's like talking to a 2-year-old. These are like fully grown Trump supporters. Like, it's like, well, I like Trump so much. He's just got to patronize people. Okay. How about opening the freaking country 100%? How about that? And then he could do whatever he wants. I don't care if he throws a vaccine like a dart and it hits Pence right in the head and he gets it on camera. If they want to do that, that's fine. But when the country's locked down for 10 months and he's Mr. Vaccine Salesman and he's saying and doing nothing to open the country, it's kind of his fault, Billy or Timmy or Jimmy, none of which are your name, but I thought it would be a funny substitution. I don't know. Do you notice something different about the country? No, I mean, you just pick one little thing. You pick one little thing. One little thing, moron? One little thing? This is one little thing to you? You're that brainwashed? It's so pathetic. Someone said, I live in Texas and it's no different than any other state. Yeah, of course it's not. They've ruined the whole country. But Trump supporters don't care. Not all of them. Some of them. They're like, if I just make things up in my head, I'm okay if everybody dies and everything goes out of business. It's like, well, then go to hell. I'll pray for you so you go to heaven. But the demon inside you, he needs to go to hell, and then you can wake up and we'll go get lunch or something. I am Pandasa said, I think you're great and Trump isn't perfect. No, he's far from perfect. He ruined the country. Please understand right now he's fighting to stay in office because if we get Biden, we're really screwed. The difference is Trump has made people like the government. Trump has told people, millions of people say, trust the plan, Bill Barr. They think it's like, you ever been a kid and trade like, baseball cards? Well, I got the Pete Rose, rookie card. Well, I got I got Pogs or something. It's like, I got the Pikachu. It's like, well, I got the Jeff Sessions card. It's like made people full-blown government fanatics. Like Jeff Sessions is the best person in the world. It's like, at least with Joe Biden, you'll figure it out. The government hates you. They're not helping you. With Trump, people are like, oh, what if the government was really on my side? And it's like, that was fun for the first 3 years when it looked good. This year, it's not funny anymore, morons. It's like, oh, maybe the government's super. It's like everything's getting taken away from you, and you're still playing the dummy game. You're like, oh, what if Jeff Sessions? It's like, Really? In December of 2020, you're still going to play that? So at least if Joe Biden wins, people will finally get it. No one is coming to save us. Trump has not done anything this year. He's only done worse than any president ever this year. And I've given him every chance to turn it around. And he wants to sell vaccines for Bill Gates. So I'm done. At least with Joe Biden, people will wake up. 4 years of Trump will probably be worse because he'll keep doing this crap. And people are like, it's not him, it's the governors. At least when Joe Biden gets in, it's like, oh shit. Yeah, it's been like that all year. You just haven't taken it seriously. So, what if Joe Biden gets in? I don't know. What could be worse than a year's worth of shutdowns and mask mandates? I don't want to live like this for another day. I don't want to live like this for another week. I don't want to live like this for another month. A year of Trump has been hell. So a year of Biden's going to be hell. Is it going to be worse? Probably, but hopefully to the point where people snap out of it. When you have 80 million conservatives making excuses for it, it's really annoying. You guys are like worse than liberals now. It's like, anomaly. If Biden wins, we're going to lose our freedom. We already lost it under Trump and under Republicans. They do nothing. So maybe you need a rude awakening, so you do something. Brett Smith said they just shut down bars in East Texas. Just got back from Shreveport to the casino. Mandatory mask unless you're drinking or smoking. You could chain smoke, no worries, no mask. This isn't about science. Thank you, Brett. Thank you so much. When people act like Texas is fine, it's not. Texas is just like every other state. Yeah, some red areas are cooler, but yeah, the mask mandates are everywhere. They're miserable. I want them over. Anomaly, consider checking out Make America Free Again. The premise is to have U.S. locals raise funds to sue states and governors to prove actual emergency. Thank you, Judy Smith. I'll check it out, and that's awesome. I've been trying to take a break somewhat this week. Like, I'm really getting really annoyed, and I don't get upset. I don't get angry. This year, I've lost everything, and I've watched my team turn into a PR team for communism. It's very frustrating, and it's just annoying. Someone said it's not Trump shutting the country down. Leticia Salazar, God bless you, Leticia. Trump signed the emergency. This is the 10,000th time I've done this on live stream, Leticia. I've done this 1,000 times. 1,000 times now. Ready? Trump signed the emergency order to shut the country down. Trump put together the coronavirus task force, which laid out the guidelines, which told the states to shut the country down. Trump said he was going to open up on Easter, and then he changed his mind and sided with Fauci and Bill Gates, and he decided to shut down the country past Easter. Trump is completely complicit. He laid out the guidelines. He passed the emergency order. He signed the CARES Act. He's going to sign this omnibus bill. He signed all the funding, all the testing, all the ventilators, all the vaccines. He's Bill Gates this year. Trump is not fighting the lockdown. This is a problem. I hope he loses at this point. So people like you, Leticia, no offense, wake up and realize, oh my God, it's Joe Biden. Trump has been just as bad as Joe Biden this year. He's been worse than Obama this year. He's complicit for all of this. He's doing nothing to stop it, and he did everything to bring it here. So this is like Groundhog Day. I've said this 1,000 times. You guys are liars. That's not God you work for when you lie. You're working for the devil. The devil is a liar. If you believe lies, that's who you're working for. Oh, well, I like Trump so much. He's a false idol in my head. I'll just lie even though the country's locked down. Then you're a traitor to America. You hate your country. You hate the children. They're wearing masks. There's a 50-state mask mandate, and this is what you want to say? You're being brainwashed by this movement to not help your own country. It's sick. I've grown to despise MAGA and Trump supporters. Not all of them, obviously, but people like this, I despise. I despise. You are letting millions of kids get psychologically abused. They're walking around with masks on. Makes you want to cry. You're letting millions of elderly people get abused. A 50-state lockdown that Trump not only didn't fight, he wrote all of it. He signed off on all of it. He signed off on all of it. Not just Gavin Newsom, Trump. He gave Gavin Newsom a thumbs up when he took power. He gave Phil Murphy a thumbs up when he took power. He gave Cuomo a thumbs up when he took power. Trump is not fighting the lockdown. He's complicit. He's in on it. And you don't even care. Why not just take a bunch of kids and throw them off a cliff? You don't care about kids. You don't care about the elderly. You don't care about freedom. You don't care about the Constitution. You care about worshiping the false idol Trump, the false idol who has been complicit in the lockdowns. If you want to like him, that's fine, but you're not allowed to distort history. I can go through from March to December how he has done virtually nothing to end these lockdowns. He signed the emergency order. He signed the CARES Act. He screamed at any Republican who told him not to do it. He is beyond complicit. He is beyond complicit. He's in on it every step of the way. He's done nothing. a few tweets here or there, and then he gets on television and lies and says, oh, well, if I didn't lock the country down, millions of people would have died. Liar. Trump, the big fat liar. The Bill Gates liar. Big pharma liar. He says millions of people would have died if he didn't lock down. Oh, if he didn't enslave his own people, millions of people. He's in on it, Leticia. And maybe you need Joe Biden so you finally wake up to it. Because every day that you don't wake up to it, people are suffering. It's so sick. It's so sick. I don't even want to do these videos anymore. It's disgusting to me. This is not my team. This is not my team. This is the devil's team. You're working. Oh, yeah, this is fine. He didn't do it. You're distorting history. Now you're a liar. Someone said, so Kamala has a good plan. Folks, this is so simple. It's this. I can't do these live streams. I got to not do question and answers because it's the same thing. So Kamala's better? No, but this is good cop, bad cop. Do you not realize the Overton window has shifted from, the difference between Romney and Obama to either we get full-blown communism or we get a worse version of full-blown communism? That's okay with you? Has everyone lost their mind? I think I know the answer. I think it's yes. I think everyone has lost their mind. So is that okay with you? Is Kamala better? No. But the fact you don't understand the good cop, bad cop game, full-blown communism, that's the big story. Not is Kamala better? No. But Trump being better than Kamala means you have to deal with full-blown communism? That's the story. Has everyone lost their minds in the MAGA movement, guys? Have you been following Twitter too much or some dummy pages of opportunists who just make millions of dollars a year just giving you clickbait articles about how the big boom's going to drop, but it never drops? Have you lost your mind, folks? Is Kamala better? No. Is it okay that Trump went full-blown communist? No. So do you get it? When those are your two options, Houston, we have a problem. Houston, either we're going to solve it or we're just going to crash this boat acting like psychopaths. It's so sad. Someone said if he tried to end the emergency order, what would happen? I don't know. Maybe people would be free. I don't know. He's not even trying to do this stuff, though, folks. You're being run off a cliff. You're being run off a cliff just like a left winger. You're running off a cliff, and you're this close to just completely falling off. And I'm just standing here saying, don't run off this cliff. Hold your ground. Communism is not okay. Lockdowns are not okay. His role in it's not okay. He's not doing anything to that. He's just running you in circles saying China virus and elections and your fault. I'm trying to stop you from running off the cliff, and people want to run off the cliff. So if you want to run off the cliff, I tried to stop you. Someone said it's sad, isn't it? It's very sad. Someone said people are so scared, so close to broke, they're clutching their straws. Well, if that's the case, then why wouldn't you demand something? I know that's what's going on with people. People are mentally drained, physically drained. They're getting beaten down this year. Some people are losing everything. That's even more reason to say, this is not okay. This is not okay what's going on. But people have this well, I don't want to believe that Trump didn't do everything he could to save me, so I'm just going to ignore reality at the expense of everything. At the expense of everything. If this was 2019, I wouldn't care. Yeah, believe he's going to do all this stuff, whatever. This year, it's not okay. It's like, how are you going to act in January when you realize he didn't do anything you thought he was going to do? How are you going to act in February? If he wins, he still didn't do anything. If he loses, clearly he's not going to do anything. So, when do you wake up to that? You just want to play along for another month and then be like, oh, I made a mistake? No, I'm tired of it. You can do whatever you want, but the same liars who lied to people all March, all April, all June, they've never apologized to me, and they've just flipped their script. It's fine, but I'm sick of it. It's a cult. It's a full-blown cult, and when your cult's doing good, it's a good thing. It's like, well, I'm on the winning team. This year, we lost. America lost. Trump, he's not beating China. He's not fighting China. Only on Lynn Wood's Twitter. Lynn Wood's losing it a little bit too. He's a nice guy, but it's like only on Lynn Wood's Twitter is Trump beating China. Trump got blown out of the water by China. If this was a score, America 3, China 20. Trump got blown out of the water by China just because he yells China virus and you yell China. No one's beating China here. You can't beat China unless you open the country. Someone said, I was hoping Trump would stop tooting his own horn. He's effective. He's the perfect person to keep the right wing completely delusional. I wouldn't be surprised if Trump got another 4 years. Why would they want Joe Biden there? If Joe Biden gets in, every Trump supporter is going to realize that Joe Biden and the government aren't going to save them. If Trump wins, conservatives will do nothing for 4 years again. They'll make excuses, they'll lie, they'll distort history, they'll act like Trump's not in on it. He just signed the bill. He's really not done anything. He gave us 5 steps forward. He did a great job the first 3 years. We went 5 steps forward, and then we got knocked back 100 steps. Now we're 100 steps behind, and everyone's acting like we're ahead. We're not ahead, folks. This is not good. It's a blessing in disguise for some things, but it's like, when are people going to wake up? I'll read this comment real quick. Tim said, at this point, you're either with us or you're contributing to the downfall of our nation. I have multiple friends die of overdoses. I've had friends who can't get a job, so now they sell their body online. Anomaly, please don't stop the Q&A, bro. Thank you, Tim. I appreciate you. And it's sad. I know people who I don't know for sure, but I know they lost their mind on pills and stuff because they weren't working. This has negatively affected almost everyone I know. I don't know anyone who this has positively affected. Only someone in Trump's position can even possibly ignore this, because they don't have to deal with this stuff. So I don't understand. I'm sorry, but it's like they just want to make excuses for Trump. It's sick. It's like, it's not 2018. It's not 2019. The country is in shambles and Trump is selling vaccines. At what point do you realize he didn't fight the lockdowns? It's not just the governors. It's him. He's the president. And if he can't do anything, what's the point of him even being there? You're like, well, he's not doing anything. Exactly. So why even be there if he has no power? Obviously he has power or he wouldn't be there. There's things he could do. He signed over every way that they've locked the country down. He signed over. But people don't want to believe it. They like Trump more than they like the truth. So now you've become a movement of lies and liars. The whole reason I like the MAGA movement and the Trump movement was because it was truthful. It was honest. It was people who were seeking truth. And between the QAnoners running everybody off a cliff this year and just full-blown Trump cultists, it's no longer a movement of truth. It's a movement of lies. You guys have become, not everyone, but full-blown liars, distorting history. Trump is complicit with the lockdowns. You just don't want to admit it because you like him more than that. Do you know how many people lied to millions of people, telling them Operation Warp Speed was a super secret plan? Almost every Trump supporter. Who reported on it accurately besides me and David Knight? I don't know, maybe like 5 people in the whole movement. Giuliani's lying about it. Trump's lying about it. They all are. They're all in on it. All these influencers just want to put on a MAGA hat and get 10,000 likes on a picture. They don't care about America. They don't care about the truth. They don't care about going against communism. So you've never heard it, maybe. I don't know. But you become a movement of lies and liars and opportunists and people who just can't fathom what's going on. It's hurtful to me and millions of people because your delusion is hurting everyone. This should be the movement railing against the lockdowns, but it's the movement rallying behind a guy who's done nothing. So I wouldn't be surprised. If they gave Trump 4 more years. He's the perfect guy to make the right wing completely lose their minds. And maybe he already did the trick. If Biden's there in April, I don't think people are ever going to admit the truth. They're so far gone that they've worshiped Trump like a god. They said, I don't want to hear anything that he's ever done wrong. He's never made any mistake. He did everything he could to save me. No, he didn't. That's a lie. No, he didn't. He's not my God. He was a leader I really liked, and he screwed up this year. Someone said the slow boiling frog. Yeah, the difference is it is a slow boiling frog, but now we're boiling fast. Now the temperature's up like 150, 200. The temperature's really high. We're boiling really fast, and people still don't get it. It's like it's not even boiling slow anymore. It's so blaringly obvious. It's like, it's sad. Someone said, why is Trump asking for a march if he's in favor of a lockdown? He signed off on them. He says he's not. He does rallies and stuff, which is cool. He's done enough to be against lockdowns, but he's not really challenged them. It's like with everything. He says drain the swamp, but he doesn't drain the swamp. He pays the swamp and he bails them out of jail and gives them pardons. So he does just enough to act like he's doing something, but he doesn't challenge them. Yeah, it's very awesome that he's getting people to DC. But the reason he wants people in DC is because they're there for him. They're there for him to hopefully save his political career. I don't think he really cares that much. He doesn't care enough, in my opinion. We can't afford another day of this. I don't understand what people don't get about it. It's like our country, even if we started in January full, there's a chance this country never comes back. You can't turn off a country for a year. Everything is in shambles. Nothing works anymore. So, yeah, he's just enough against it to do rallies and stuff. But as far as the legislation that signed this country away, he's been behind it on every level. And by the time he stopped being against it, or he started being against it, it was too late. And he did just enough to say he's against it and do rallies, but he didn't fully end it. He never went back on his stuff. And if you read this new bill he passed, it's going to fund all these people involved in it. Everybody who did this gets more money. They don't get penalized. The swamp doesn't get drained. They get paid and funded. And Trump becomes a front man for him. So, yeah, that's nice that people are going to go rally in D.C., not for the lockdowns. The lockdowns are the biggest thing. Someone said, is there really any chance of Trump staying in office? Anything is possible. I don't know. Personally, I think they're just running people in circles. I think they're just getting people out in D.C., running them in circles so nobody talks about the lockdowns. It's just 6 months of no Republicans caring that much about the lockdowns. The main leader, Trump, controls the right wing. He's running them in circles. So, I mean, he could organize something. Someone said this country will never be the same, and it's sad. Let's read a few more, and then I'm going to get out. Someone said Trump just screwed us and enriched the swamp by signing the stimulus with all the pork. He's done it for years. I reported on it in 2019. In 2018, he said, I will never sign another stimulus bill like this, or what was it called? Omnibus bill. In 2019, he signed an omnibus bill, and it was worse than the other one, and he sold it like it was this great thing. He's a good salesman. He's like, it ends the smoking age. He passed that BS bill last year and signed off all of this other stuff. And no one I reported on it last year. I wasn't bashing him, but I was like, this bill sucks. But no one stands up to him. No one cares. The government's out of control. At best, you could say, listen, it's too powerful. Trump can't do anything. I can accept that. But it's like this idea that he's really saving us. He's not. He's signing off on all this stuff, guys. Bill Gates and Gavi are going to get $4 billion. They're not getting the pork out of it. It's just disappointing, but it's okay. Was it the $600 one, or was it the $1,200 one? Let me see. Look it up. Someone said, I'm afraid you're right, but this is depressing. I'm not trying to depress. I want people to be happy, but like my thing is this: I don't need a lot to be happy. I'm a very simple person, but they've taken away everything I like. Everything's simple. I mean, I'm grateful for my family, my friends, and that's the most important. So I'm very grateful for that. But getting a coffee, going to get a bite to eat, the simple things in life, just running errands, they've made this country miserable. So it's depressing just living in this country right now. Make the most of it. Don't be sad. But it's like, I can't deal with this that much longer. I don't want to be here. I have to move somewhere, or I don't know. I wouldn't leave the country because I like America, but this country sucks now. This country sucks. It sucks traveling. I don't like wearing a mask. I don't wear a mask. If I fly, I'll wear a mask because I have to. If I have to shop and wear a mask, I'm not shopping. I don't wear masks all the time. I hate it. It's demeaning. It's disgusting. It's unsanitary. Yeah, he signed what? The stimulus package? Which one? How much did people get in it? The $600 one or the $1,200 one. Let me see. I don't know. How much was the stimulus for, guys? $2,000? Oh, 600? Oh, 2,000 with a promise of more later. All right, 600. He signed it with recession requests. All right, let me read some super. Someone said everyone thinks all the things that happened this year are coincidence. Most people think we're doing this to get back to normal. It's sad. Yeah, it's. I mean, the left wing is completely delusional, but the right wing should be doing something or at least planning. But there's no plan because everything revolves around Trump. That's the point I'm trying to get to. I'm not trying to be mean, but all the right wing's plan revolves around helping Trump, but Trump's not helping us. He's not doing anything. This year I'm gonna read this super chat. Holly Berry said, "God bless you for talking relentless about sense the Trumpers. Vaccine salesman is the new title." He's a vaccine salesman. This is the crunch time for humanity, folks. This guy's the most powerful leader in the world, and he's tweeted more about Moderna's vaccine than he has about freeing our country, and that's not acceptable. I'm not a slave. I'm not. This is not acceptable. I can't. I don't want to live like this. I don't want my family to live like this. I don't want my elderly in my family to live. I don't want anyone to have to live like this next year. So if I'm the leader, you should be mad at me. If I was Trump, you should be mad at me. I wouldn't be mad if you were mad at me. You should be like, what are you doing? Grow Love Bear said, God bless you. Your strength is continuing to stand up amidst this brainwash masses. You're an inspiration. Thank you. Appreciate you. God bless you. Lou, the good dude, said we have to stop worrying about money, talk with our community, form militias, let me see, what does it say? Take it to big corporations and take care of each other. No one evicted. God bless you, Lou, the dude. Someone said I'm upset with Trump. Everyone should be, and I'm not trying to be mean, and I'm not, but I'm. If anyone's watched me since April, I'm sorry. I could handle it better. I'm just sick of hearing the same fake things on loop. This is not new. I've talked about it since April, and people just can't. They just say the same things. It's like it turns into Groundhog Day when I ask questions because people don't want to handle it. So I forget what I was gonna say, but yeah, I'm not trying to be mean, but either the right wing is going to do something or at least plan to do something, or we're not. And you can't, if I say one thing, everyone freaks out at me. And it's like, all right, well, then I guess, yeah, okay. No, yeah. Someone said anomaly. We all know the president doesn't control the country, Bilderberg groups, etc. But here's the difference, though. Trump sold everyone, and myself included, and for a while he did a good job. So, it's like he sold us on he's the outsider. He's outside the Bilderberg group. He's outside of these people. So we've all been waiting because he's there. You get what I'm saying? If it wasn't Trump, no one would be waiting or allowing this. Only President Trump could allow this to even happen in the first place. If Biden or Hillary tried to do this year, no one would allow it. So Trump's presence allowed everyone to allow it because he's the outsider. So now we know he's clearly not the outsider, or if he is the outsider, he folded or caved or can't do anything. So we have to admit that and then move forward and be like, okay, so now what are we going to do about it? But we can't do anything about it if no one wants to admit it. If you still have 70 million people who says he's the outsider, he's our savior, he's going to save us, let's go to DC and save his life because he's saving us so much, he's fighting so hard for us. It's not McConnell, it's Trump. It's not Trump, it's McConnell. It's the deep state, it's the CIA. It's like, it's Trump too. Trump has done nothing this year. Nothing. So it's like, that's the point I'm trying to make. I'm sorry if it hurts. I feel I'm hurt by this whole year. Physically, mentally, this is all very draining. This is all very frustrating. They've ruined every basic thing that I've liked to do, from vacationing to taking care of myself with physical therapy to working out at the gym. They've ruined everything. Every little part of my life, they've just completely demolished. So how do you think I feel? It's been a year of this, and, it's really annoying. So I'm looking up to this leader who's supposed to be on my side, and he's selling me out. every step of the way, selling me out to Murphy, selling me out to Cuomo, selling me out to Newsom, selling me out to the pharmacy industry. Trump's selling me out all year. He should be opposed. He should be opposed just like a Biden. But that's the problem. Everybody just thinks he's an outsider, but he's not acted like one. So either he needs to act like one, or people need to realize he's not doing it. But I've said a lot, and like just seeing how they're treating myself, my family, I'm sickened. This is like a war on people's physical health, a war on people's mental health, in many cases, a war on people's restaurants and financial health. I mean, my friends that own businesses and stuff, they have for sale signs. When I come back for Christmas time and I look for sale, for sale. This is sickening what it's doing to my community, what it's doing to me, what it's doing to everyone. I don't have another day. And I felt this way for months. I don't want to hear excuses. I'm sorry. I don't want to hear excuses about Trump. I don't want to hear how he's not doing any. You're wrong. Sorry, but you're wrong. It's like, it's the governors. No, it's when Biden is in office, he will use his power with leverage if he gets in office. Trump's not, he's giving his power to Bill Gates. He's giving his power to Cuomo. He's not fighting them. That's why Democrats do everything. Republicans are do nothing. They're either in on it or they just don't flex their power at all. Someone said, what have you done then? Complaining instead of complaining, you want to know what I've done, June? And this is the little flip. This is the little flip everybody has when they're like, oh, well, Anomaly tell me things I don't want to hear. So what have you? It's like, I told the truth when liar Trump was lying to everybody, saying millions of people would have died if I didn't lock down. I told the truth. I was doing real reporting. I was doing what nobody in the Trump administration did. All the liars and con artists that he hired to sell you out to communism this year in Big Pharma, I told the truth to millions of people. Hundreds of millions of people saw it. So I tried to inform people. I tried to lower the fear and the stress when everyone was stressed out in fear. So I did my fair share of the work, and Trump went on television and Fox News and said, if I didn't lock down, millions of people would have died if we had freedom like Sweden. Con artist Trump. That's what he was doing. So what did I do? A lot more than Trump did. What did he do? Sell us out to Bill Gates, sell us out to communism. What did you do? Get upset when I told you that. So I don't care. It's like when I hear something I don't want to hear, I'm just going to pretend like you didn't do anything because I don't want to hear that. So I like Trump so much more than you. It's like, good, then go away. Unfollow the page. I'll never lose sleep about it. I promise you. Someone said this is a global takeover bigger than Trump. It is, but he's only played the role of the globalist. When you fund Gavi $4 billion, it's not like Trump just signed over the Operation Warp Speed bill and then said, you know what, I really disagree with this. He's their biggest salesman. He's Bill Gates. He's a bigger vaccine salesman than Bill Gates. If you thought Bill Gates was bad with the vaccines, Trump is worse. The worst part is Trump knows about this. He just doesn't care. He's totally flipped. So he's not fighting the globalists. China, 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 China. He's like a clown. China, China. And then he funds China. Or he funds companies that are working for the CCP. China, China, China. And then he just funds Pfizer and Moderna. Moderna, China, Moderna. He's like a big clown. So yeah, it's a global plan that Trump is now selling us out to. He seemed like he was fighting it for years. And this year is crunch time. And he's not fighting them. You can't fight the UN by funding Pfizer and Moderna. The UN loves that. The UN wants Trump to fund Pfizer and Moderna. It's like he's not fighting the globalists. He just says he is. Either he's just doesn't know what he's doing, but like this is the thing. It's like people are like, Anomaly, you don't understand. He has this huge plan for the end. He has a huge plan to bankrupt 100,000 restaurants. He has a huge plan to treat somebody like slaves. How do the thousands of people who committed suicide or overdosed on drugs because they lost everything this year, how do they feel about Trump's super secret plan? How do the 100,000 restaurants who lost everything feel about Trump's super secret plan? How do the family that members that lost their elderly person that they couldn't see all year, they didn't get to see their grandma before they died because the nursing home wouldn't let, how do they feel about Trump's super secret plan? So if this is his super secret plan, he's not working for God. I'll tell you that much, because this is a super sick plan, or he's just another puppet in this evil scheme. So it's like, what kind of super secret plan does this to people? an evil one. So if it's his plan, it's an evil plan. Either that or he's really dumb or he's in on it the whole time. I don't know. You could pick one. Someone said we have a better chance with Trump than Biden. A better chance for what? A better chance with what? People have a bigger chance with Biden to wake up. Trump is 4 more years of slumber. Yeah, he hopefully does something. I've been waiting for 4 years. He did a great job, and this year he didn't. And I've been waiting all year. I voted for him. I went to his rally. I said, listen, he seems like he's turning around. And then he just sold vaccines. So, yeah, we'll see what happens, but I don't know. If Trump wins in January after 5 months of his supporters just running in circles, it's an uphill climb. At least with Biden, people will wake up. I wanted Trump to win. I voted for Trump. My vote went for President Trump. But when I see how his supporters act, I start to ask myself, maybe you need him to lose. I wanted Trump to win. I still want him to win, but I didn't know people were going to act like this. I had no idea. If people act like this, it's like, yeah, maybe if he starts selling vaccines and you're cool with it, maybe that's the plan. Maybe they want Trump for 4 more years, so no one does anything. I don't know. Someone said Trump stopped funding the UN. Yeah, but then he started funding these vaccine companies, stopping funding to the UN. I'm going to stop the funding to the UN. Then he works with the CDC and the HHS, Human Health Services. They're the same people as the UN. The CDC and the UN, there's not much of a difference. So it's like, we're not going to fund the UN. We're going to fund Israel $500 million and Sudan $700 million and Gavi, the Vaccine Alliance, $4 billion. That's no difference, really. It's just enough to I love that he didn't fund the UN. That was awesome. But at this point, he works with people who work with the UN. The money gets there anyway. It's just enough to seem like he's doing something. I get it's a hard task, but I'm more annoyed, if you want to be honest. I'm more annoyed that Trump supporters don't feel like this is a big deal more than I'm even mad at him. But he is really annoying right now selling the vaccine. Someone said, I'm worried if Biden gets in, that the Great Reset happens. I believe Trump won't. That's why I want Trump to win. He's laid out the groundwork for the Great Reset, though. I don't know. I don't see him really fighting it, but we'll see. How are you going to fight the Great Reset when you funded the companies? Did Trump have to rush these vaccine companies? He's so proud of it. I don't even understand it. It's like most of them didn't even think it was going to get done this quickly. Fauci and Bill Gates were like, yeah, I don't think we could do it in under a year. And Trump's like, I'm going to do it faster. It's like he's helping the Great Reset plan faster. Without these vaccines, they don't have a plan. This is the plan. So he's now a member of the plan, in my opinion. Someone said, what about Nassar and Gassara? It's, in my opinion, I've looked into it. I think it's just a theory to make people think that this is all good. There's all these theories out there instead of realizing, I'm just going to be honest. I'm not trying to make people sad. It's like, have a good New Year's, enjoy yourself, go for a jog or something. But when hundreds of thousands of restaurants go out of business, that's not a good thing. When Amazon grows, that's not a good thing. Nassar and Gassara is a way for everyone to be like, well, this is good. This is really good because the bankers are not losing. The bankers are in on this whole plot. So is there a chance? Yeah, but I don't know. I never really believed in it. So there's all these theories out there to flip everything bad that happens and make it look good. It's a lockdown. It's because they're fighting the bankers. I don't think so. I think they're reconsolidating to digital money and just going to scam people in a digital way. But I don't know. We'll see. Someone said incredible rant. Well, I'm glad you liked it because I feel bad. I don't mean to get mad at people, but when people try to act like Trump wasn't involved in this lockdown, I really can't stand it. It's like we're suffering. I'm suffering. Millions of people are suffering. Millions of kids are suffering. Millions of elderly are suffering. Millions of restaurants are suffering. We want help. We don't want a vaccine salesman. We don't want somebody who signs off on the lockdowns and then a bunch of his supporters to tell us he had no part in it. He did. It's just no one reports on it. The left lies about Trump. The right loves Trump. The right will defend Trump. But then when Trump does something wrong, the left lies about it and the right lies about it. So there's very few people who actually talk about it, where it's like, I don't know what to tell you. It's like he didn't fight the lockdowns. There's many ways you could fight the lockdowns. I would say the best way he fought it was by holding rallies, like physically actually doing things against lockdowns. Like that, it was impressive. Besides that, not really much. Maureen said people are more about their team winning. They're not seeing anything else truly going on. I know that's the case. I guess it's really it's extra frustrating when you're being treated like a prisoner and a slave, and people still don't get it. It's like our ship is sinking, and everybody's still, sorry, I got to stretch. Everybody's still like team red and team blue. It's like, really? You're going to do it right now? Really? Like it's gross. It's like, I get the team red, team blue thing, but when team red turns fully blown communism and you're still waving team red flags because you're slightly, well, what about Kamala? She's miserable. I would never vote for her ever. I voted for Trump. You couldn't pay me enough money to vote for Joe Biden. I would not even take a bribe to vote for Joe Biden. But that doesn't mean that communism's okay under team red. You get what I'm saying? And it's not just Mitch McConnell. Mitch McConnell sucks, but it's like, it's Trump too. People think it's just not, he gets people going all over the place, but he never like consolidates it in a place that actually makes sense. He's got people all over the place right now. Election, China, like his supporters are like not in the right. I don't know. I don't feel attached to this stuff. I feel bad, but like, I don't want to go to DC so I can be like China. It's like, what part of funding companies that have CCP agents working there is fighting China? I don't know. I have to wear a China mask on my face in order to fly and yell China in DC. I don't want to go. All right. They're trying to kick me out of my Facebook live stream. All right. 2 more minutes. We'll end on a good note. I apologize. I was trying to be chill this live stream, but apparently that didn't happen. Someone said anomaly. Alex Jones addressed it's David Knight, not Brian McKnight's the singer. David Knight firing. He said he hated working at InfoWars. Yeah, I don't know. I'd take that with a grain of salt. It's not my drama. That's their situation. So I said keep talking about anomaly until he steps up to the plate. Well, that's my whole angle too. And I know I feel bad yelling at people who watch my live stream, but he's a tough guy. So it's like, if you tell him do this, he might actually do it, and he might have to do it, but no one wants to challenge him. So he thinks he's Abraham Lincoln selling Bill Gates vaccines. It's really sad. Like, and people are, you're Abe Lincoln. He's like, I'm Abe Lincoln. I'm the fastest vaccine guy. I mean, have you ever seen somebody sell a vaccine faster than me? I mean, even Randy Johnson tried to pitch a vaccine 100 miles an hour. I said, Randy, you have a great arm, Randy, but nobody sells a vaccine faster than me. Even Fauci said, wow, I'd never expected a vaccine to go that fast. I said, I'll tell you, Fauci, the fake news media said, I could never sell a vaccine this fast. But look at me, I'm so fast. Usain Bolt looked at my vaccine. He said, is that Moderna? Is that Moderna? Wow, that's a fast vaccine. I can't even run that fast. I said, thank you, Usain Bolt. I'm a really fast guy. What can I say? Operation Warp Speed. Great success. It's like, and then people are like, oh, yeah, Trump really beat them. He really beat the left with the vaccine. They never thought he could rush a vaccine. Like, that's how they play you. They play good cop, bad cop, left versus right, and they get you to support something like ridiculous, retardar. It's like, man, Bill Gates said, Trump, I bet you can't rush that vaccine that fast. And I said, oh, you watch how fast I do it. It's like, no, just stop. Someone said chill. That was probably, if you say chill, probably like 20 minutes ago. That was not that bad, but I'll get that bad if you want me to. Someone said Gates owns Trump. I'm calling him Bill Gates Jr. I think he needs to hear that. It's like, bro, your legacy sucks. Everyone's like, your legacy is great. He's like, wow, I'm so fast with the vaccine. Ending this 4 years with Operation Warp Speed is throwing his legacy in the trash. If he ends with a move that makes sense, he can actually do something. Ending with Operation Warp Speed is a disaster. I think he needs to hear that. I don't think he needs to hear he's Abe Lincoln. I think he needs to hear that this sucks. And if he doesn't do something about it, I feel like that would potentially make him do something. Like, he likes to be liked. So if you're like, bro, this sucks, then people are like, okay, this sucks. But if you're like, this is great, he's like, this is great. They love it. They'll do anything. I could shoot someone in New York and they don't care. I mean, man, I could sell Bill Gates vaccines and they'll make up theories pretending like I'm not. It's like, why wouldn't he stop? Masha Andrioni said, so much being thrown at him simultaneously. Agrees, not the end all be all, but as a human being, what do you focus on first? Elections? No. Masha, God bless you, but no. The lockdown, the 10-month slow communist lockdown has to be the number one issue. It should have been the number one issue all year. But the first 2 months, everyone gave Trump a pass. Then George Floyd took over the country for 2 months. And then the election's been the story for 6 months. 3 months before the election, just wait till the election. 3 months after the election, just wait till that's the trap, in my opinion. I think the lockdown has to be the number one issue. If Trump is president for 4 more years, he should have ended the lockdown today, or he should have tried or done something or made an attempt. He's not doing anything. He's just selling Bill Gates vaccines. If he's not in office for another 4 years, he should do it even more because he's only got a month left. Try to make a move for the people. He's pardoning Kushner's father, who like blackmailed one of his family members with a weird sex tape or something. It's like he's just not draining the swamp. He's funding the swamp and bailing the swamp out of jail. So whether he wins or loses, he should have been on the lockdowns anyway. We can't. When this happened for 15 days, I was freaking out then, and I sent thousands of dollars to people because I was like, you can't close a business. If you're a businessman, you can't close a restaurant for a week. Most restaurants go out of business if you close for a week or 2 weeks. 15 days of this is too long. Since the election, it's been a month, over a month, almost 2 months now. And you want to wait 3 months? You can't even do 15 days of lockdowns. It's been 10 months of lockdowns. This country is going to be hell, whether Trump wins or loses. So I don't think, this is the trap. For 6 months, people are like, the elections. I don't care. I'll vote for Trump, but yeah, this is the trap. 6 months of election talk. No focus on the lockdowns. I think that's our biggest mistake, personally. Someone said we should all go on Trump's Twitter, Facebook, and IG and hammer them with comments about ending the lockdowns, not leave it to Anomaly and other influencers. Monica, that's what you should do, but just be prepared for Trump supporters to hate you. Some of the most stressful comments I've read were from my own followers. They're so nasty. They're so mean. If you speak accurately about Trump, even nicely, if you say he's not done enough to end the lockdowns, watch the vitriol you get. These people are evil. They turn into demons and they scream at you. Oh yeah, F you, traitor. Oh, you're a liberal now. Team Red is a communist. We do the. It's like, this is how brainwashed people are. It's like, I'm not liberal. I'm more right wing than you are. It's not a competition, but like, I want freedom. You think communism's okay. I say end the lockdowns, and you say I'm a liberal. Someone said, "Dude, do you hear yourself?" Well, no, I'll have to watch it back to fully hear myself, but can I, what part, Hydro, what part of what I said, what bothers you? Show me on the doll what part hurt you. Are there enough of us to make a change? We have numbers. This is the whole point of the speech. If all Trump supporters actually cared, we have more than enough numbers, but 99% of people are running in circles around the election. So we're useless. It's like, ooh, we're going to fight China. The only way to beat China is to fund Moderna and Pfizer. Trump's fighting China. He's fighting China by funding Moderna. I mean, the only way to fight Bill Gates is to fund Bill Gates. The only way Trump can stop CCP is by becoming the CCP. We're fighting China by becoming China. It's like, yeah. Let's do a year more of this. This is really going to help. I mean, it's like, man, China, and then like 10 million retweets. Everyone's like, we're sticking it to communist. No, we're not sticking it to communist China. Trump's getting blown out of the water by communist China. He's failing miserably, but whatever. I realize we have it good in Florida. Learning so much from the rabbit holes you've introduced. Informative. Thanks for the direction, bro. Action. Thank you. I'm not trying to be mean, but it's like, I don't like any of this. I don't know. The mask thing is just horrifying to me. I think it's very evil. And it's very like, you can't see smiles anymore. I don't even when they open restaurants, it's like, I can't even see the waitress's face. It's like pathetic. I feel like she's like a little prisoner. It's like, "Rah, rah, rah." It's like, I don't even feel comfortable in a restaurant anymore. Like, yeah, you probably can't breathe and it's like hot and sweaty and then you're touching your face 5 times. It's like everything sucks. You are so wrong. Say why I'm wrong, Shepard. Shepard, I'll give you attention, bro. You got the floor. What's wrong? What I said? I'll read your comment. She is a prisoner. Oh, okay. I don't know. You're just pissed. Someone said, Paul said exactly. The elections is nothing but theater to distract people from paying attention to the lockdowns. I think so. I really think it is. One election is going to last 6 months. And then they're already talking about the Purdue election is going to drag out for 4 weeks. To me, at a certain point, I saw Trump as this guy who was like really fighting hard. Now I see him like a clown, like one of those clowns at the circus who's flailing his arms. And he's like, China elections, and everyone's like China election, but no one's really doing anything. They're not doing anything about the elections. They're not doing anything about China. People on the right, their view of how foreign politics works is so skewed. They don't even understand, like, I don't know, it's like China. It's like, yeah, China is a huge part of it, but like, is everyone sold out to China? No, there's other countries involved too. And Trump passes speech laws for them. And those countries work with China. And those are countries that you're not allowed to talk about on the right. So it's like the left wing is just wearing masks, fully blown gone. The right wing's running in circles around narratives they don't even understand. It's like, it's wild. I'll give you one example because I find it very funny. The Q people, like a lot of people who follow Q, not all of them, but some of them, when they get pissed at me, they call me Mossad. If you guys don't know what Mossad is like Israeli intelligence. It's funny because Trump is very pro-Israel. Trump is super pro-Israel. He's bailing out Kushner. He lets Jared Kushner and Dershowitz run the show. Dershowitz, Epstein's lawyer friend. Trump is more pro-Israel than any president ever. So I find it funny because they worship a president who's super pro-Israel. They call everybody Mossad and Zionist, but they don't even know what the word Zionist means. And all the politicians that they worship are all Zionists. So it's like they're calling everyone Mossad, but they don't even know what it means. It's like they're getting their conspiracy theories mixed up. So they're like, "You're Mossad." I'm like, "You worship a pro-Israel president." They're like, "You're a Zionist." And then I say the word Zionist. They're like, "No, I'm fighting the Zionists." Zionists are the pro-Israel crowd. All of Trump's cabinet's pro-Israel. So if you support Trump, you are a Zionist. You are in that crowd. So they've gotten like multiple conspiracy theories mixed up, and when you like disagree with them, they're like, "You're Mossad." It's like someone told them the word Mossad and they just repeat it all the time, and then it's like, "You're Mossad," but not really. But it's embarrassing. Cheese 11 said, "Hello, Anomaly. I'm 19. With all this tyranny, I can't see a free future. Sad seeing patriots fight for Trump and not our own brothers and sisters." Cheese, God bless you, brother or sister. I don't know if you're a guy or a girl. Yeah, I mean, I think about myself when I was 19. I was way more reckless than I am today. But yeah, it's sad that you have to deal with this. I mean, being 19 is hard. I think when you're 19 through like 25, it's confusing. Either you go to college or you don't go to college, but it's a confusing time. You're growing up, you're learning about yourself. I can't imagine having to deal with this as well. You're growing up, you're learning things. College must suck if you're trying to go to college, like wearing a mask. It's evil what they're doing. And for you, especially, you're 19, but it's like these people that are 30, 40, 50, 60, they should be fighting for you. I think, I think there should be people out there who look at the 19-year-olds and the, 6-year-olds wearing a mask and say, this is unacceptable. But it is shocking that so many people are like, man, it's okay. Or like, no, he didn't have a part in it. If a leader can't say end this or at least call to end it, he's not really your guy. If he has the time to sell Moderna vaccines, in my opinion, he has the time to at least put a plan together and say, hey, we're going to focus on the elections. We're going to focus on Moderna, but this is unacceptable. What they're doing to the kids, he really hasn't done that. I know people want to think he's really anti-lockdown. He said some things that are pretty anti-lockdown, but he's also many a time said, I'm glad we locked down. I saved millions of lives. When you tell people that millions of people will die if you don't lock down, that's how you tell them it. And that's what he said that since April. He's like, if I didn't lock down, if we would have went like Brazil and Sweden, we would have millions of people who died. I saved millions of lives by locking down. He's there, that's not really fighting the lie. It's like he's playing both sides a little bit, where it's just not enough in my opinion. So God bless you guys. Someone said you've depressed the hell out of me. Well, I'm sorry, Becky. That's not the intention. Hopefully you have a good week and a good new year, but I don't know, enjoy your family and your friends and stuff, have a good time. I don't know what to tell you. I mean, I've made the most of this year. I've been very grateful for the things that I've had, but it's starting to wear on me a little bit. And I think it's starting to wear on everybody a little bit. So I'm not trying to scare people or depress them, but if you want me to tell you like, okay, Trump has a super secret plan, just ignore this and he's going to save you, I think eventually you're going to get more depressed down the road or something. I don't know. I don't know what you want me to say. I'm sorry that this live stream came off this way, but hopefully people are happy. I just don't want to see people live like this for that much longer. I mean, make the most of it. Don't be sad. But at a certain point, I think it wears on everybody. Joe said, God bless you. I'm 60 and I trusted the plan till 8 weeks ago. You're correct. Well, God bless you, Joe. I'm glad you came to your senses. Someone said it's okay to vent. Well, that's another thing too. I mean, it's I don't know. I try, even at the beginning, someone said, go live more, please. Yeah, I will. I don't want to keep getting annoyed and stuff. But for me, as a person, I apologize. I should maybe be more professional or something. But I'm a human being and I come on here and I've heard the same things since April and March. And I get a little upset because I've taken hundreds of attacks by my own people all year. And I've heard the same lies all year. So it's not, and then people ask what the solution is. I think the solution is to realize that no one's really doing what we thought they did. And then we can figure it out ourselves. But we can't even get to that point if so many people don't even want to admit it. I don't, some people tell me like, I can't tell you what your deal is, but like some people tell me, Anomaly, you make me mad because I want to believe that, Trump purposely locked the country down and, the lockdown was a secret good thing. So when you say it's not, that makes me mad. It's like, that's kind of on your own. Because if your idea of being hopeful is like letting hundreds of thousands of people lose everything and you're like, okay with it because you think there's a plan that doesn't exist, in my opinion, that's a little twisted. But as far as everything else, I mean, I definitely could twist it in a better way. But I'm not gonna lie, it's just been this last couple months has just been very draining online, very draining to see so many people going the wrong path, and also very draining because I can't really get anything done. Everywhere I travel, everything I do, there's all these restrictions and it's very annoying. But, I'm still grateful for what I have. Dirth said, what do you think about Trump signing the aid bill? What's up, Dirth? Dirth, I saw the video you made of me where you like photoshopped the picture behind me. That was very funny. You like sped it up times two too. It was pretty funny. I saw it. What do I think about the bill? The government's out of control. I think people need to realize that. I think Trump gave people the hope that he was going to stop the government corruption, and I just don't think he did. And I think it's not that bad if everybody realizes it. I'd be in a lot better of a mood, and it's my own fault personally, to be honest. I need to do better myself, but I'd be in a good mood if I saw tens of millions of patriots like really ready to do the thing. But I don't see that. I see like tens of millions of people blaming McConnell, blaming China, thinking Trump's going to do it. And it's a little sad, but that's my own fault. I need to get used to it and be like, okay, this is what people are going to do. We'll just go from there. Someone said Trump called for the businesses to be open. Yeah, but what does that do though? How is he calling? He said it one time on Twitter in a few weeks. That's not really enough. There's things he can do. He could really try to say this is unconstitutional. It's completely unconstitutional. And he could push it to the Supreme Court. He hasn't done that. There's 20 different things Trump could do more than he's doing. But I understand people want to make excuses for him. That's people's whole life. They want to just figure out a way that it's okay the way he's doing what he's doing. I don't think what he's doing is okay. I don't think what he's saying is okay. I don't think the fact that he lied about it all year is okay. I don't think the fact that he's doing the bidding of big pharma as his main closure agenda is a good thing. I think it's bad what he's doing. So If you think that's fine, it's okay, but I don't think he's doing nearly enough. Can he do everything? No. Could he do more? Of course. Somehow he has the power to give away all our stuff. Somehow he has the power to sign off all our stuff to the companies who are taking it away. But you don't think he has more of a chance to fight it? He could. He's just not doing it. But that's a tough thing to wake up to. I understand for some people it's really tough. Someone said my dad used to say, if you don't like the smell, get out of the sewer. Yeah, I hear you. You look like the guy in Young Rascals. I don't know who that is, but I don't know if that's a compliment or not, but that's pretty funny either way. Someone said, so Georgia's not important anymore. If people could double task, and I really got to go in a second. If people could double task, I mean, Georgia's fine. Trump is fine. The election, if there was some sort of double tasking going on, but to me, it just looks like a circus. Like, do I want the Republicans to win in Georgia? Yeah, I do actually. I do want them to win, but do I think it's that big of a deal? It kind of is, but is there something else going on in this country that makes me feel like I'm crazy? Because when I talk about it, people act like shocked as if it's not that big of a deal. There's something else that's maybe a bigger deal than all this stuff. It's called shutting the country down and becoming full-blown socialists and communists for a year now. It's a year. And the further we go down this path, the harder it is to reverse. And at a certain point, it becomes very hard to reverse. I think it's doable. I have faith in humanity, but when I said this in March, people said in June we'll be free. And then they said in July will the vaccine, and it's December and it's worse than it was in June. So it's very clear that they're trying to make this permanent and worse. So either we combat it or we don't. So is the election important? For sure. But there's the elephant in the room seems to be so far down people's priority list. Like, this isn't a small thing I'm talking about. This is like the most egregious thing that's happened in 50 or 100 years. So yeah, of course the election matters, but does it matter more than the bipartisan lockdowns? Of course not. No. Anomaly, I've called and emailed my senators, Toomey and Casey, and I got cut and paste response. You say demand X, Y, and Z, but man, they aren't listening. People are scared. I'm not, but they are. Well, God bless you, Chivo. Yeah, I'm sure these people's inboxes are just getting torn up. But that's that's the hard part. It's like calling. They say call the senators, but they don't really listen. It's got to be some sort of physical protest. But my thing is this. Trump is the leader. He might not be able to do everything, although he could do way more than you guys think he can. But in general, he can be the voice. Right now, he's backing Moderna more than he's backing the American people. That's a huge problem. If Trump was on Twitter every day saying the lockdowns are unacceptable, here's what we're going to do, here's our plan to end it, don't listen to them, open up shop, you'd have millions of people going back to normal. He's not doing that. He's spending most of his energy trying to sell the Moderna vaccine because he wants credit for it. That's a problem. So I understand that, calling senators is not going to do it. I understand that Trump can't do everything, but he can do a whole hell of a lot more than you guys think he can. And instead of doing that, he's running people in circles. He's taking the most powerful movement the country's seen in a long time and making you guys look like clowns. And you're not really accomplishing anything. So, I think that's the big scoop here is like people want to make excuses for him. He has the power to do a lot, even with his own direction. And he's directing Moderna to give himself credit. That's where all his energy is going. It's not okay to me. If you think that's okay, it's fine, but I just don't. And I never will. Ryan Michael said, Trump is still going to win. Don't lose hope. God got this. Smile, hustle, have a happy heart, earn and win. Don't say your prayers. Say thankful, sleep and repeat. Here's my thing though. Thank you, Ryan. I don't even care if he does or not anymore though, because he's not really doing anything for me. So if he wins, is it going to be 4 more years of delusion from his own base? Are they going to act like he has no part in it as he just plays this like clown game of like not doing anything, signing the bills and doing the same thing that you get what I'm saying? So it's like, I think God has this, but I don't put God in Trump. Like for a while, it seemed like Trump had God's favor and he was doing really well. Recently, I don't feel the connection anymore. It's like if he wins, that's fine. If he loses, that's fine. I don't really care either way. I feel like the pros of him winning are everything except for the fact that no one seems to like care as much there's no doubt in my mind. If this was Biden or Hillary, no one would have accepted this past 15 days. The day it happened, week 1, truckers, farmers, you would have had the biggest civil disobedience you've ever seen in your life. If this was Hillary Clinton, you would have had civil disobedience in Texas and Florida, unlike anything you've ever seen in American history. The only reason we haven't seen that in 8 or 9 months is because of Donald Trump. He's holding the movement back, in my opinion, at this point. He has all the power and he's using it for Moderna and Pfizer. He's not using it to free the country. So I don't really care if he wins anymore. If you want to be honest, I don't think he's doing enough with his power. And I have no doubt in my mind, if this were an evil politician, no one would have allowed this. There's no way this would have not spurred some sort of civil disobedience at this point. Josh said, for Christians at least, this is all simply a sign that the governments of man will come to a point where they will make us choose between it and God. Our loyalty, therefore, must always be Christ first and foremost. Joshua, I'm glad you brought that up because this is important. And I'm not Mr. Christian. I don't want to tell people what to believe, but if you read Revelation, they talk about the government becoming a one world government, the mark of the beast, and they say you have to choose between God or government. You have to choose between the system or not. It's very clear at this point that it's nearly a one world government. So if you really read, they talk about a figure who's very likable, who deceives people into thinking that he's the one, but he's not really the one. I don't want to label Trump, but at a certain point, when Trump becomes the government and everybody worships Trump and Trump's funding these vaccine companies and everyone worships Trump, it feels like people are worshiping a false idol. It feels like people are being torn away from God and they're going against their own instincts to worship this leader. Where if he becomes the president for another 4 years and he keeps doing the bidding of big pharma and people worship him, it seems like a false idol trap. It seems like he became the guy who was fighting for us to the guy who pretended to fight for us and really just kind of led us to our own demise. So it's something to think about, but it's not going to be popular when you have millions of people who love him more than anything. I like him. This is not easy for me to do. It's not like I hate him and I've never been like a libertarian like F Trump. I liked him. But when I see what he's not doing, I'm like, it's not a little mistake. He took 5 steps forward and then got knocked back 100 steps. And once he got knocked back 100 steps, he just turned into a vaccine salesman. So I can't ignore this because it's so blaringly obvious. It's like disappointing, but it definitely was not the route that we thought it was going to go. All right, I'll read another one and then I'm going to take off. Someone said the Bible doesn't say people will rise up and win. It says it's going to get so bad, God will have to stop it. Love you, bro. No, I 1,000% agree. And that's the interesting part too is, I don't want to act holier than thou because trust me, I'm not. But, I think a lot of Christians have worshiped Trump like God and they think that Trump's going to save the world. But you're right. That's totally not biblical. The Bible does not say that at all. So if you're really Christian, you really believe in it, it would make more sense that Trump doesn't save us than that he does save us. I think that's totally accurate. But you see how many people love Trump so much. If you said that, they'd freak out at you. But yeah, nowhere in the Bible does it say, that he's going to save everybody ever. It says really the opposite. But, we don't know what part we're at. So it's like, yeah, maybe someone could temporarily delay that. But it just doesn't look, it seems like it's going to happen. Someone said, you nailed it. Trump was God aligned. And now it seems like he wasn't. And this is before I leave, and this goes for myself too, but I think when MAGA and Trump were honest, I think they had God's favor. I think he was doing a lot of things that were very honest, very good for humanity, very good for the world, and or at least for people. I think Trump had favor because he was just crushing it. He was doing a lot of good stuff. And then at a certain point, he just became not doing good stuff. And I think he lost the favor. Like with this year, he lied more than I've ever seen him lie over the lockdowns. I know it's a tricky situation, but whether it's him or his advisors, whatever you want to say, he became like he wanted to play a political game. And I know this year is difficult. So I think at a certain point, he was like, I have to lie or I have to do this in order to win. But I think the movement of MAGA, the movement of Trump, was so powerful because of the truth. When you operate in truth, there's not a fake news source that could take you down. There's not a politician that could stop you. They couldn't stop him. But once you become not truthful, I think you lose the favor. And I have a lot that I have to work on myself. So I never like to preach because I have enough to do myself. But I think that's true. If people are doing journalism or reporting, I have my own personal life that I have to work on. But when I come here, there's things I could work on. But I'm not supposed to be a liar. If I come here and I turn into a full blown liar and I start feeding you lies and feeding you lies, does that make me a good reporter just because I like Trump? No, it makes me a bad reporter. It makes me a bad person, in my opinion. And a lot of people became that this year. They hated him so much that or they liked him so much that they became bad reporters and, to be quite frank, bad people. And I think we've lost the favor, or the movement has lost the favor of God, because we've lost the favor of truth. We've lost the favor of reality. We've lost the favor of, okay, we're gonna make it happen for our country. And that's, if you want to be honest, that's really the Republican Party. They do just enough to like slow down the Democrats, but they really don't. It's like, they're not going to save Christianity. In some ways they are, but in some ways they just let the churches get vandalized. They got our statues. It's like, it's not strong enough. And I'm not saying I have the solution, but as an outsider looking in, I would be lying if I said this is enough to stop the left. Like, it's not enough. So I think, we have the most power when we stand in truth. And the second that we become untruthful, I think we lose the favor, and we lose power. And I think that happened a lot this year. Someone said, relax, anomaly. The best is yet to come. Raise up your frequencies and vibration. This is a long-term military operation. Patience. Frank, I hate to say this, but this is not the work of God that you're into. You're falling for Satan's trap. You think that it's a secret military operation to bankrupt hundreds of thousands of restaurants? You think the thousands of people that killed themselves this year and lost everything, that this is a secret military operation? Frank, you're being deceived by the devil, my brother. And this is a lot of Christians. They buy into this false idol, false prophet, trust the plan nonsense, who tells them to worship the government that hates them, tells them to support secret military operations that don't exist. It's really evil, man. Like, if you like Trump and you're hopeful for the election, that's fine. If you're going to fully blown say this whole year is really good and I'm super pumped, like, bro, that's very demonic, dude. It's like that has become the movement of devils, turning Christians into devil worshipers. Like, I'm trusting the plan of government destroying everybody. If you want to do it from a Christian perspective, that's fine. If you want to do it from a trust the plan, military intel, trust Bill Barr and Jeff Sessions, bro, that's straight up evil. And I don't get how you guys don't see it. You front like you're these super positive, nice people. You're like, chill, bro. Just trust the vibrations of restaurants losing everything. Like, you're not fooling anybody. And then when you tell the truth to these people, they freak out at you. They're like, no, anomaly, if you want to help people, that's bad because we need to destroy and kill everybody in order to save everybody. It's like, bro, it's evil. It's so evil. Yeah, the Q people have gone full devil. It's full evil. They're like, they lie. I'm not claiming, everyone makes mistakes, but like, you have full blown accounts. They lie every day. They know they're lying, but they think that it's okay that they lie because they're lying to their audience in a way that seems like very Trumpy. Like, anomaly, Operation Warp Speed is a super secret plan. Like, no, it's really not. So if you're willing to lie to hundreds of thousands of people, that's not God. That's ego. That's lying. Like, I don't understand how these people don't see it. They think they're like chill spiritual, but you're misleading millions of Trump supporters, and millions of Trump supporters believe you because they want to believe that that's happening. It's really messed up, but whatever. Joshua said, for Christians at least, this is all simply a sign that the governments have oh, I already read that one. All right, read one more. Someone said we still need a fair election process. Absolutely, but in my opinion, people are being sheep herded to destroy the electoral college process. I think if Trump comes up short here, he's completely destroyed your chances of ever winning again. It's like just enough to cause a stir, but not enough to get results. You get what I'm saying? Like, if you're going to go, he's got to go the full distance. If he comes up short, they just sold you out. You get what I'm saying? I would love a fair election, but we didn't have one. But also, the electoral process, the electoral college saves Republicans. If they win and they get in office and Trump gets to the side, they can abolish the electoral college because no one follows it. Trump tried to make everyone go rogue. This just seems like a setup to me, but I hope it works. But if he comes up short, they're going to destroy the electoral college, and it's your fault. They're destroying it because you've already said I don't think those electors go there. Either you got to go the whole way and seize power, or you need to not. That's kind of, I think, what happened with Trump this year. It's like he talked a lot of game, he did a lot, but he got wiped. Like, let's see what he does. If he goes full MAGA and he fully wipes the floor in January, then it is what it is. He still needs to end the lockdowns, but I think that would be interesting. I think that's a huge possibility. But if he doesn't do that, it's like you went just enough to stir up the pot, but not enough to really get it done. Magical Girl said Q killed the truther movement. Well, I think the Q, I don't know if it was the message board itself, but the movement that spurred off the message board, I don't know what the message board meant, but I think the movements that spurred off that, they've swallowed up the truther movement. They've turned full-blown holistic moms into like Operation Warp Speed fanatics. So they've brainwashed holistic moms who don't like vaccines into secretly loving vaccines because they think it's not a vaccine. That's what Q did. It totally warped the truther movement. It took over the whole Julian Assange human trafficking movement that built in 2016 and said, here's all the info, and everyone took the bait, and then they went off a cliff a little bit, but we'll see. Let's see. Well, let's end on a good note. And I apologize. So I want to say this, folks. Definitely in the new year, there's some stuff I want to do, podcasts, whatever. I'll figure out what I want to do. But I definitely want to make sure the approach is good too. I have to figure out what to do. If I can't I like the question and answer. If people are gonna ask me the same questions on loop and just get like worked up, I don't know that I could do it anymore. I just don't have it in me to answer the same questions on loop to people that don't want to hear it. I can't do it. So maybe I'll just have to do videos and post them or something. Maybe I'll do question and answers once a week. I'll figure it out because I can't do that. As far as being optimistic and hopeful, I definitely want to. I've always had that in my videos as far as ending it on a good note, making people feel good, not scaring people. Even the whole pandemic, I think all my videos, they weren't fear-based, they weren't anger-based, they were chill, and people, watched them and didn't get worked up. As far as the live streams, I'm not trying to be a downer or anything, but when I see, vaccine certificates and stuff, I don't really know what to tell people. I can't look into the future. I hope to see full resistance, but as far as this year, you didn't see it. Will it reach a boiling point? I don't know. But I'll try to figure out a way to really, pitch it in a maybe more optimistic light. As far as the lockdowns and stuff, when I say that it's wearing on me and in general millions of people, I mean that. So it's like, there's a way to pitch it properly, but it's like keeping someone locked down for 10 months. You're gonna have people not in the best mood. I would love to be in a better mood, but I mean, they've taken away so many things that made me physically and mentally healthier. They've really ruined a lot of that. So I have to figure out how to carve a new world like a prisoner. I don't know. It's a journey for me too as a human being. Like, I used to do this, and this to calm down. I used to do this, and this for my back and physical health. They've pretty much ruined that for me or forced me to wear a mask. So I can't do like 8 out of 10 things that kept me way healthier. They're destroying my health. And I'm on television watching the guy that I thought was my guy selling vaccines for Moderna. And then when I say that, it gets more stressful because my audience doesn't even want to hear that. So I have to figure out a way to balance this because this is all kind of crazy for me as well. And even just existing and doing what I normally do has become more stressful than fun in some cases. In some cases it's good, but it's like, it's not sustainable. I got to figure out a way to do it properly. Someone said, I haven't seen you in a long time. They've shadow banned my page a little bit. So sign up to my free email list and such, and I'll get it. But, I definitely want to make sure I'm optimistic and have solutions for people because it's all difficult. To make a long story short, the reason I've gone so hard is I think the solution for the Trump movement is to stop running in circles and actually stand up to whoever it is. So if we can't do that, that kind of knocks out what the solution is on a whole scale. On a personal scale, it's like, I guess, just being grateful, being appreciative, finding out the things you enjoy, still doing that, outdoors activities and such. We have to make the most of it, but I'm trying to balance, and I apologize if it doesn't come off right sometimes. I'm trying to balance being grateful, appreciative, and optimistic, but at the same time, not just being a complacent, submissive sheep, because I realize the more submissive we get, the more we're going to lose. And it's going to get to a point where it's really not fun or it's impossible to have fun. So, I'm trying to balance that. being grateful and appreciative, and but at the same time not becoming complacent. And it's very difficult this year considering what we're dealing with. I'm gonna read Hydro real quick said, "We love you and we don't want the lockdowns either. Stop saying all of us are the same." I'm not speaking about everyone. If I'm not talking about you, I'm not talking about you. Some people are, some people aren't. If don't take it personally. Bunny Fufu said, "Would you consider leaving California?" Oh, absolutely, of course, no question. But I need to go somewhere 100% free. If I'm gonna move anywhere, I'm not dealing with this half in, half out stuff. Someone said there are very few free people left. Enjoy it. Well, thank you so much. But that's the goal for the new year. Thank you guys so much. And I don't know. I know this is not ideal, some of the things that I'm talking about, but we'll figure it out. And I think a lot of people at the same time, as much as this bothers a lot of people, I think a lot of people also appreciate it because there's really not many news sources that are talking about this type of stuff. And I feel like they're running. Thank you, Bill Jana. Appreciate it. There's a lot of people running everyone in circles. And, it's a little disappointing, but I know after next month, I think people will come to their senses more. They'll have nothing to really run in circles about. We'll see what happens, but God bless you guys. God bless your family. God bless America. God bless the world. Have a good rest of the year. Have a good New Year's, and I'll pray and think about ways that I can not only do that, but figure out a solution on a personal level and also on a widespread level, because that will be a lot more helpful. So thank you guys. Appreciate y'all. And I'll be back. I actually have a good video planned. I haven't got a chance to do it, but talking about the How to Lie with Statistics. It's the Bill Gates book. I want to show you guys what's in it and such, and do a whole video on it. So I'm gonna do that. Let me see. Read a few more. Seymour, thank you so much. Appreciate y'all. Thank you guys. I appreciate you. And on a good note, I'll say I'm very grateful of many things, but one thing is this year, among all this, I've been fortunate to grow an audience, grow people, and connect with a lot of people, and also, play a role in this in some sort. So I'm very grateful for that. It could always be better, and it could always be worse. So it's like in 2 years we could be like, damn, that was better than this. So I want to be grateful, and that's been one thing that's been a blessing, is people watching, people supporting, and people sharing the videos and such. So I want to thank you guys. That means a lot to me, and hopefully we've made enough of an impact to really do something. And I apologize. I feel bad when I yell at people, but it's just annoying to me. I mean, if anyone's watched since April, I've heard the same things like 1,000 times. It's driving me nuts. I feel like I'm in Groundhog Day, because if you watch me since April, we've talked about this since April, and it's been the same story, and it's December, and things are exactly the same, and people are still saying the same stuff. It's like, I got to figure out a way. That's why I use humor sometimes, because if I'm not laughing, I'm just getting pissed off. So when you see something, I'm like, should I laugh and make a joke about it, or should I just get annoyed? So I'll just try to be funnier, because when I get annoyed, I don't know if it's fun. Some people I'm sure love it, but at the same time, I don't want to get annoyed at people who follow me, but it's like, I can't just listen to the same excuses all year when it's been December. But, I'll figure out a way to do that. Someone said, get over it. Bro, calm down. All right. God bless you guys. Have a good day. And I'll be back soon.